For the Dodgers, Don Mattingly is throwing out all of his regulars. Tommy Lasorda welcoming fans here to Camelback Ranch, Glendale. We'll be back in a moment.
Not to mention the fact that having a Vin Scully bobblehead has got to be one of the greatest things ever. And that is a bobblehead I cannot wait to have front and center.
Purchase a Dodger Stadium.
Ranch, Glendale with Steve Lyons. I'm Eric Collins, getting ready to get this one started. The Dodgers meeting the Brewers for the first time this spring. It'll be the first of three matchups between the Dodgers and Ron Renicke's Brewers. Let's take a look at how the Brewers are going to line up. Just had a late scratch. We expected to see Ryan Braun, who won the MVP a year ago. We're told he has a tight groin. He is not with the team today. So instead, it'll be Logan Schaefer replacing him in left field, Nigel Morgan in right field, Carlos Gomez in center. New Brewer, Aramis Ramirez over at third, Matt Gamble trying to replace Prince Fielder at first, Kataris, Conrad, former Dodger Ethier, and the pitcher is Chris Narveson. And there is Chad Billingsley. Steve now making his fourth start this spring.
Now, of course, Chad signed that 3-year extension with the Dodgers now, but you look at his numbers. Since 08, the wins have gone down from 16 to 12 to 12. Last year, he was an 11-11 pitcher, and not quite what you want out of your number two. But he does have some startling numbers that you can look at that make him look like a much better pitcher.
His first pitch is a called strike one to Logan Schaefer.
I was surprised to find out that since 08, Chad Billingsley has the 6th most strikeouts in the National League and the 7th most wins. Talking about the last 4 years.
Little flipper, right field, playable for Andre Ethier. Makes the one-handed catch, 2 pitches, 1 out here in this afternoon's game. Now defensively, behind Billingsley, Rivera, Kemp, and Ethier, kind of standard issue in that outfield. Juan Uribe once again at third, D. Gordon the shortstop, Mark Ellis with those sure hands at second, James Loney at first, A.J. Ellis catching Chad Billingsley. Here's Nigel Morgan. He takes down low. Second season for Morgan with the Brewers. Guy who kind of bounced around at the Nationals and the Pirates for a while and really found a home last year and was a really exciting player for the Brewers down the stretch. Hits this one well, but once again, Dodgers have a man there. Andre Ethier makes another nice catch out in right field.
Now this is the key to Chad Billingsley's success, too. Do not walk guys and pound the strike zone. Make him swing the bat so that he can get deeper into ball games, maybe get into the 6th, 7th, 8th inning of games. And he's still out there. Sometimes Chad will run it up to 100 pitches right around the 5th inning, and then he's in trouble.
Yeah, Steve, we saw him last Wednesday pitching against Kansas City. It was last Thursday, I apologize. That was against the Royals. And he really struggled. He walked 2 of the first 3 guys that he faced, 4 of the first 5 men that he faced, had a full count. He settled down after a while, but just right out of the chute, he was not hitting the mid as much as he would have liked. This much different here against the Brewers as he goes 0-2 now to Carlos Gomez.
A lot of Dodger fans, I think, disappointed when they heard the fact that Ryan Braun was not in the lineup for the Brewers. They wanted to pit the Dodger MVP up against the National League MVP, and a little surprised that he was scratched from the lineup today.
Gomez fouls it off the catcher A.J. Ellis. Counts days at 0-2. It hadn't been a great spring so far on the field for Ryan Braun. Has just 1 hit in 17 at-bats.
Yeah, a lot of boo birds out there, a lot of facetious MVP chants. 1 hit all spring. Goodness. That's a Steve Lyons spring training.
2 hopper to the shortstop. Gordon guns it across the diamond and gets out Gomez for the third out. So an easy first for Billingsley. A couple of fly balls to right and a ground ball to short. When we come back, it'll be Gordon, Ellis, and Kemp batting for the Dodgers. To lead things off for the Dodgers, Chad Billingsley had an uneventful top of the first, getting the Brewers to go down 1-2-3. Here's Don Mattingly's lineup card. Gordon followed by Mark Ellis. Matt Kemp hitting third. Juan Rivera back in the number 4 spot. Ethier's been red hot so far this spring. James Loney, Juan Uribe. A.J. Ellis and Chad Billingsley will hit for himself for the second time this spring. And here is Chris Narveson. First ball swinging. This ball is lashed into deep center field. That one's going to get over the head of Gomez. And look at Gordon run easily on his way to third, and he'll make it standing. I don't know if we'll see a harder hit ball from D. Gordon this spring.
We saw him hit a bolt into right field the other day. Tried to turn the wind around. It was a heavy wind coming in. Flags are dead still today, and he just bombed that one out there. A little more pop out of D. Gordon than we've seen in the past. That ball up in the zone. There's no way you can run this down if you're playing D. Gordon where you should be, and that is shallow. You know, we say that a triple is the most exciting play in baseball, but with D. Gordon it isn't because he's already on third. It's not exciting. He gets there too quick.
So that's the first extra base hit for D. Gordon so far this spring. Had been 7 for 28. All 7 of his hits were singles. But now he's on at third with nobody out, and Mark Ellis will bat.
Didn't really get a chance to talk about Chris Narveson. He's probably the number 5 pitcher in the rotation for these Brewers, but they're pretty deep when you look at Greinke and Gallardo and Sean Markham, who's probably going to make his first start in the next couple of days, but they say he will be ready for opening day. Randy Wolf, pretty good rotation. He won 11 games last year. They say he's kind of a poor man's Tom Glavine. He'll cut the ball, sink it. Great changeup. Throw a big looping curveball up there, but he kind of sets everything up with that good changeup that he has.
I think a lot of people would be surprised to find out that Narveson has made 28 starts in each of his last 2 seasons. It's the type of consistency that helps you win games. You just know what you're going to get every 5 days. Ellis, little looper, shallow right center field. That'll drive in a run. Base hit for Ellis, and the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead.
Now this is where Mark Ellis is going to be great for this Dodger team. Number 1, excellent defensive second baseman. He's going to be solid out there and make sure he catches the ball. But hitting behind Gordon, all he wants to do is move him up wherever he is. If he's on first, make sure he gets to second. If he's on second, because Gordon's going to be running, get him over to third. And if he happens to get all the way over there, just dunk one out there, drive him in. 1-0 Dodgers.
So still nobody out in the first inning. Matt Kemp will grab a bat. Just love looking at those numbers from a year ago in the season Kemp had. .324 batting average, 39 home runs. He was sensational so far this spring. 8 hits and 29 at-bats to put up a .276 batting average. Does have 1 long ball and 5 runs batted in.
That home run is his only extra base hit of this spring. Hasn't really gotten it untracked yet, but there's certainly still time.
Don't waste your hits down here in Glendale.
I guess that's what Ryan Braun's thinking.
Ryan Braun has only played 1 road game so far for the Brewers. And we were told that he did not get a great response from the fans in the stands. Another base hit for the Dodgers. Matt Kemp, line drive, single to left field. Ellis moves over to second. So Narveson not fooling anyone so far. Triple and a couple of singles for the Dodgers.
A lot of times in a situation that you obviously look for location from the pitchers. And Narveson's not a guy that's going to throw the ball by you, but he is a guy that can trick you. You know, you got to have one or the other. Can I trick you or can I throw it by you? Narveson's more of a trick guy. He's going to throw the changeup, get you out in front. But if you're going to throw that pitch and it hangs out over the middle of the plate, someone's going to hit it.
So next in line, Juan Rivera. Juan leading the Dodgers in home runs so far this spring with 3. He's got 7 runs batted in. And he takes a called strike 1. Dodgers have played 17 times so far this spring. 8 wins, 5 losses, and 4 ties. Lost yesterday against the Cleveland Indians, but when the game was still being played by the majority of the regulars, the Dodgers were right in it. Clayton Kershaw was fantastic, as he's been all spring long. Clayton, 12 1/3 innings of work so far this spring. He's given up just 1 run. Lifted out of play, right side. Of concern yesterday for the Dodgers was Jerry Hairston. Defensively, Hairston's expected to be a big part of this year's team. Veteran guy, can play a lot of different positions. He's good with the bat. But he's played 2 games now at shortstop, and defensively, things have been an adventure. He's made 4 errors in those 2 starts at shortstop for the Dodgers. Ball lifted into shallow right field. Nyjer Morgan gets underneath it. Ellis is going to think about moving to third, and he's going to make it standing.
That's all about knowing the players in the field right there. That wasn't a very hard hit ball, but Ellis looks up. He sees Nyjer Morgan over there playing in right field. He knows he has no arm. Morgan plays a lot of center field as well. He says, I'm going to tag on this one and move up because I don't think he can throw me out. It wasn't even close.
So Andre Ethier will bat with 1 out, runners on at the corners. Andre's having a great spring, batting average at .455, and it's been a hard .455. 10 hits and 22 at-bats. Of those 10 hits, 6 of them doubles and a homer.
Those 6 doubles lead all of baseball in spring training. Interesting here, Don Mattingly's lineup against the left-handed pitcher with both Ethier and Loney going back-to-back in the 5-6 spots.
Yeah, don't think that Don Mattingly's not paying close attention here. Andre last year really struggled against left-handed pitching, so this is an opportunity for him to show that things have changed.
There's a lot of things going on here in spring training. A lot of these positions are pretty well set for the Dodgers, but so far we've seen Jerry Sands struggle. There was some talk that if he had a good spring and looked like he was ready, that he may get some playing time against lefties, and either Ethier or Loney would sit down for those extra at-bats for Jerry Sands. And so Don Mattingly's really trying to look at both Ethier and Loney to see how they react to the left-handed pitching here in spring training to determine what he does during the year. But Jerry Sands is doing himself no favor right now, not hitting the ball as well in spring training as everyone has hoped.
The numbers weren't there for Andre Ethier last year against left-handed pitching, but we've seen Andre for a number of years, just a professional hitter with his approach. Do you think last year was an aberration, or do you think that's the new norm?
Well, I hope it's not the new norm, but it has been a trend over the last few seasons. He has not hit lefties. Last year he hit left-handers at a 220 clip. If he's your number 4 hitter, your all-star type player, if you're not swinging the bat against a left-hander, then you got to get someone in there that can. I think the Dodgers, and particularly Don Mattingly, was hoping that Jerry Sands would be that guy that would step up. So far, he has not done that. He's hit just 174 down here in spring training with 23 at-bats and 4 hits.
Here's the 3-1. Nope, the throw to first. And it's dug out of the dirt by Matt Gamble. Gamble trying to fill the shoes of Prince Fielder, who's been the first baseman for the last 6 seasons in Milwaukee.
How far Gamble is off the bag with Matt Kemp. That gives Kemp an extra step if he wants to try to steal.
Not going. 3-1 is hit on the ground. Potential double play ball to second for 1. Pitcher covering, not in time. That'll score another run as Ethier hustles out the fielder's choice and gets an RBI for his work. Dodgers now leading 2-0.
That looked like a little breaking ball right there. Ethier's out in front of it, but he understands right here, if you hustle down that line, stay out of the double play, a run's going to score, you get the RBI. There's your back-to-back left-handed hitters here in the lineup with Ethier and Loney.
So with that run batted in, Ethier now tied with Juan Rivera for the team high in RBI, 7 now. And James Loney, .316 the batting average with a homer and 4 runs batted in. Swings at the first pitch and drives it to left field. Schaefer going back, still going back, it's off the wall. Ethier being waved around third. Here comes the throw. Not in time. Dodgers score another run, and James is going to take an extra 90 feet.
This looked like a bad defensive setup for the Brewers. I think you probably could have thrown Ethier out at the plate. But to watch the relay throw, it's going to come in almost into second base rather than in a straight line towards home. You see the shortstop going out to get a relay. The play here is at the plate. Ethier's coming around third. Look at this throw going to second base. Now they have to come back and throw it to home. Just enough time to give Ethier the chance to get in there.
So scored a double and an RBI for Loney. And the Dodgers lead by a score of 3-0. 7 men have batted now here in the first inning. Juan Uribe takes a strike 0-1.
James Loney stepping up in that at-bat, drilling a ball into the left center field gap, driving in a run with the double, saying, I'm not going to be sitting out against lefties. I want my job. I want to play first base every day.
Down in the dirt, 2-1. The inning began when D. Gordon hit a ball over the center fielder Carlos Gomez's head. Mark Ellis a single to right field, driving in Gordon. Matt Kemp a line drive single to left. Juan Rivera flew out to right, but Ethier, a fielder's choice RBI. And now Loney, a double, driving in another run and moving over to third on the throw to the plate.
I think Dodger fans this year are going to have a great time watching the contrast between a guy like Matt Kemp and D. Gordon. Matt Kemp is just a tremendous athlete. We know that.
Uribe skies this one to center field, should end the inning. Catch is made.
Those guys are completely different. Matt Kemp does everything hard. D. Gordon is smooth.
Yeah, a smooth 3-0 lead for the Dodgers as we move to inning number 2. Chad Billingsley back on the mound in a moment. Start for the Dodgers here on a sunny afternoon in Glendale. They lead the Brewers by a score of 3-0 as we play inning number 2. Chad Billingsley got a couple of fly ball outs and a ground ball out to get a 1-2-3 first. Now the new Brewer, Aramis Ramirez, batting, and he's got a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Ramirez, one of those guys that had continual bad starts with the Cubs in Chicago and then would put it together in the second half, generally when that team was out of the race. But then he'd start throwing up some monster numbers. I mean, this guy has been a very productive player, hit over 300 last year, 26 homers, 93 RBIs again for a team that wasn't very good. He's got a chance to put up some more excellent numbers in a Brewer lineup that can protect him.
1-2 pitch. Softly hit to the shortstop. Throw is low, scooped out by Loney. Last 2 balls put in play by the Brewers have been ground outs to D. Gordon now.
Especially against right-handed pitching, that's what Billingsley does best. Pound the outer half of the plate, get guys to get out in front of a pitch, try to pull a ball away from them, and bounce out to the shortstop.
Well, here comes a big-time question mark for the Milwaukee Brewers. Matt Gamel's going to bat. You see the numbers last year playing at AAA, 310 with good power. But this is a guy who's had opportunities at the big league level, albeit small opportunities, over the last 4 years and has never really done anything. He's played parts of 2008, 2009, 2010, and last year with the Brewers. In total, 85 big league games, hitting only .222. And now he's going to play in the middle of this lineup and play first base, replacing Prince Fielder. Gets himself a base hit here.
Yeah, it's tough. Sometimes guys, you know, their numbers from the minor leagues don't translate to the big leagues. Check out the swing right there. Great balance right down through it. Good pitch to hit, and he nailed it. But, you know, some of those guys, too, especially if you're a power guy, and he's a 30-home run potential guy, you got to give him 500 at-bats. Let him go out there and get into a rhythm. I think he gets that opportunity this year. He may surprise you with some numbers that he throws up, especially in the bandbox that is Brewer Stadium, Brewer Field there, you know, in
Miller Park, yeah.
In Miller Park, yeah, in Milwaukee. I mean, that the place, Miller Park and here in Arizona, where the Diamondbacks are, it's like the exact same ballpark, and the ball flies out of both of those places.
So the first base runner for the Brewers with 1 out. Gamble on at first. Here's the catcher, George Gataris. And he takes a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike to Gataris. He's going to be the backup once again this year. Their catching spot is locked up. Jonathan Lucroy is going to be the everyday guy. But Gataris is always valuable, in large part just because of his specs. He's a left-handed hitting catcher. Those guys always seem to be in demand.
Gataris spent most of last season kind of being Randy Wolf's personal catcher. Wolf would pitch, he would catch. Up and down a little bit last year between AAA and the big league level. He's on fire right now. He got off to a slow start down here in spring training. He's 1 for 12. 8 for his last 12. Funny game, isn't it?
2-1. To left field. Rivera running back. Right in front of the track, makes the catch. Right about his waist. There are now 2 outs.
Well, we've seen this over the last few years, and even though there is no wind blowing today, the flags are pretty much straight down. Left center field here is a jet stream at Camelback Ranch. It's 380 out there to left center field, but we've noticed every year we've been down here, you're crazy if you're not a guy that's trying to hit the ball into that left center field gap because the ball carries so well straight over the State Farm sign.
So here's the veteran second baseman, Brooks Conrad, his first year in Milwaukee. Last handful of seasons he's been down in Atlanta. What makes him distinctive is what's not on his hands. Doesn't wear batting gloves. Before every at bat, he'll reach down and he'll grab 2 big handfuls of dirt and rub his hands together with that dirt. That's all he needs.
Old school.
Gamble still on at first, 2 outs. Called strike 1. Conrad's a guy who can play second, he can play third, he can run the outfield for you. He's a switch hitter. He's been good off the bench over the last handful of seasons, but just ran out of opportunities down in Atlanta.
I've got him at second base today. Played some second base in Atlanta. Did a good job of filling in at third base. Chipper Jones had injury issues. Remember a few seasons ago, a couple big clutch grand slam home runs for the Atlanta Braves during the season, and then had a little bit of a defensive meltdown in the playoffs.
Oh, 2 now to Conrad. Billingsley does not have a strikeout so far through our first 2 innings.
Talked about the numbers earlier when Billingsley took the mound today, that since 2008 he has the 6th most strikeouts in the National League, but he has become one of those pitchers that, you know, I could care less if he strikes out anybody as long as he makes guys swing the bat and put the ball in play.
Going to be a tough chance for Rivera. He runs out of room. How about that? Man, you talk about that jet stream left field. Conrad found it. An opposite field home run off a 1-2 pitch for Brooks Conrad. That's going to plate a pair. And the Dodgers' 3-0 lead has been cut down to 3-2.
You know, it's, you know, being an ex-player and a guy that didn't hit many home runs, I have a tough time calling anything a cheap home run. But, you know, you play where your elements are, and he does a good job. He stayed with that pitch well. That was a big breaking ball. He stayed back on that pitch, drove the ball to left field. But I can guarantee you one thing, that ball's not going to go out of the ballpark in L.A. And the wind just picked up a little bit. But even without a wind, the ball just jumps out of here to left field.
So for Conrad, a couple of runs batted in, and that's impressive, doing it off a 1-2 pitch. Right back to the mound, and this time Billingsley throws out a glove and makes quick work of Cesar Izturis. The former Dodger is out number 3 here in the first inning. But damage done. Brooks Conrad off a 2-strike pitch. Homers the opposite way. It's a 3-2 Dodger lead.
Meet the 20.
Second inning, already 5 runs have been scored. Dodgers on top of the Brewers 3-2. Just a moment ago, Brooks Conrad going opposite field over the left field wall for a 2-run homer.
That's as good a swing as you can put on a ball that's down and away from you. You saw his head down in the zone. He stayed back. If you don't stay back on a pitch like that, number one, you hit a weak ground ball. But number two, you don't have the power to drive the ball as far as he did to left field right there. So really a pretty good piece of hitting right there.
Chris Narveson throwing to A.J. Ellis. Pitch misses high and outside. It'll be Ellis followed by Chad Billingsley. And then D. Gordon to bat here in the second inning. There's Brooks Conrad. trying to make the team as a non-roster invitee with the Brewers. Get 2 strike home runs to the opposite field. That opens eyes. There's a strike. AJ so far this spring, 5 hits and 20 at-bats. He does have a homer. He's driven in a couple. Haven't heard one negative word from Don Mattingly or his coaching staff about A.J. Ellis this spring. Hard hit on the ground to the shortstop. Torres, low throw, scooped out of the dirt by Gamble. Torres winning a Gold Glove with the Dodgers back in 2004, still has it defensively.
It's rare to see a bad throw to first base. He got picked up over there by Gamble, but well, I'll tell you what, he was so much fun to watch. Dodger fans remember Torres and Cora, the double play combination, 2 of the best glove men in the game. It was, you know, sometimes you just wanted to see ground balls hit to those guys because they just did it all.
So 1 out here in the second inning, and Chad Billingsley will bat. First handful of games in the spring. Usually don't have the pitchers hitting. So this is just the second start in which Chad Billingsley has been able to swing a bat. We saw him lay down a bunt. His only plate appearance so far this spring. It was a successful sacrifice last Thursday against Kansas City. Swinging away here, 2-hopper to Ramos Ramirez, who throws out Billingsley. A couple of ground ball outs here in the second. News around the world of spring training baseball yesterday. The Seattle Mariners were releasing Hong-Chi Kuo. First year outside of the Dodger organization for Hong-Chi Kuo, just trying to figure things out with the Seattle Mariners, and it just wasn't happening. 6 2/3 innings. He'd given up 13 earned runs. And Steve, he gave up 5 home runs. And he's the type of guy with that electric stuff that he has. You just wonder how anyone would ever get a home run off of him. But he's been released.
Well, clearly he didn't have that electric stuff. And, you know, you wish him well because he was a great guy. And, boy, did he have a tremendous season 2 years ago for the Dodgers. Did have that great arm, live arm. Everyone knows about the 2 Tommy John surgeries and the 2 extra elbow surgeries. He certainly has been through it all.
Called strike to D. Gordon. 1 ball, 2 strikes. D tripled and scored his first time up. Hits this one into shallow right center field. Gomez can't make the play. D on his way to second, and he'll make it with a slide. So a nice start for him. 2 innings, 2 extra base hits.
That's amazing. He just loops the ball out there. If one outfielder doesn't get it, you know he's going for 2. This is the type of hitter, for the most part, that he's going to be. Dunk him in there into right center field, left center field, and then just keep running. You watch D. Gordon coming around and sliding into second base. The dirt doesn't even move.
So a triple in the first, a double in the second for D.
He doesn't even kick up any dust.
He's in scoring position with 2 outs. Mark Ellis, an RBI single an inning ago. Ellis, a very rare big leaguer from South Dakota. Didn't play high school baseball because they don't have high school baseball in South Dakota. He was discovered playing American Legion ball. Not too many people knew about him, but the coaching staff down at Florida did. Played 4 years with the Gators. Didn't get drafted out of high school, nor did he get drafted after his junior year in college. Was drafted as a 4th-year senior. Actually had a really nice college career playing with Florida. They went to the College World Series. He was teammates with David Eckstein, Brad Wilkerson, Josh Fogg, former Colorado Rocky and Chicago White Sox, was on those Gator teams. David Ross, still in the big leagues as the backup catcher. I think he's with the Atlanta Braves. But Mark Ellis will be the first person to tell you. He played with David Eckstein, and it was Ellis who was the shortstop, not Eckstein. Eckstein played second next to him. On the ground of the shortstop here as Torres makes the play, side retired. So The 2-out double by D. Gordon goes by the wayside. The Dodgers threaten but don't score. They still lead 3-2 over the Brewers. What is sure to be an eventful 2012 season with the largest promotional schedule ever and the lowest ticket prices in years. To guarantee your tickets to opening day and Koufax and Scully bobblehead nights, purchase season tickets or select mini plans today. For more information, visit Dodgers.com/tickets. Chad Billingsley on the mound for inning number 3. He'll face the pitcher Chris Narveson. And then Logan Schaefer and Niger Morgan. Narveson takes a called strike.
Let's see how Chad Billingsley settles back down after the 2-run homer by Conrad and then a bullet hit right back at him by Izzy. Get back onto those corners and continue to sail along in this game.
Chad doesn't have a strikeout so far. First 8 men that he have faced. 3 fly ball outs, 2 ground ball outs, and a line out. Narveson doing some battling. Dodgers are going to finish up the season series against the Brewers before we even get to the month of June. Dodgers have a series in Milwaukee in mid-April. And then the Brewers head out to L.A. end of May. May 28th to the 31st there at Dodger Stadium, and then that's it. Swung on and missed. Ball blocked nicely by the catcher Ellis. Have to throw to first base for the out, and it's recorded. First strikeout for Billingsley.
There's that sort of automatic strikeout with the opposing pitcher. Good hard slider down and in. I think that Chad Billingsley calls that a cutter more than a slider, but these days it's kind of a semantics and terminology.
So with 1 out, here's the left fielder Logan Schaefer. We had expected to see Ryan Braun in left field for the Brewers, but he was a late scratch with what they're calling a tight groin.
Is that another way of saying it's road game-itis? There's no question that Ryan Braun is put in a tough situation now after the MVP award and then the whole issue with the PEDs and whether or not it was a clean test or not. And he defended himself successfully against the allegations. But, you know, there's a lot of fans out there that are still wondering what the deal is, and it's going to be a little bit added pressure on him that, you know, quite frankly, if you're a player, you don't really need.
Another big pressure point for Ryan Braun is for the first time in his big league career, he's going to be batting in a lineup that doesn't have Prince Fielder in it. One, two. Count evens at 2.
I still think the Milwaukee Brewers are going to be a darn good baseball team. They've got some solid pitching. They still have guys that can hit the ball. You're looking at guys that aren't in the lineup today. They signed Alex Gonzalez to play some shortstop for him. Corey Hart had knee surgery. He's going to miss at least a month.
Swing and a miss. There's another strikeout for Billingsley. Back-to-back Ks to begin this third.
Jonathan Lucroy is the everyday catcher as we take another look at the pitch from Billingsley, and that's just a good old country fastball throwing it right by you.
They didn't mention one of the best offensive second basemen in the game, and Ricky Weeks.
Ricky Weeks not here today.
He was an all-star a year ago. Niger Morgan shows bunt, takes a strike, 0-1. Yeah, you talk about that thunder that Ron Renicky can run out there. Very good, consistent offense, you would think. But what separates them from everyone else in the NL Central, they're hoping, is their pitching staff. When you got Chris Narveson, who's pretty darn good as your 5th starter, and Randy Wolf as your number 4, you can win a lot of games.
Well, let's see Morgan run and see if Ethier can cut that off. He wasn't able to get to it. You might see Morgan go for 3.
He stumbles around second, and he'll have to scramble back to second. James Loney covering the bag at second, misses the tag, and so it's going to be a double for Niger Morgan. So what's supposed to be one of the most beautiful plays in all of sport, the triple with a fast runner, turns into be one of the ugliest ones as he stumbles around second.
Well, you see Ethier out there hustling to try to cut that ball off to see if he could just hold him to one base, and now, oop! Down he goes. Watch James Loney have a little collision with the umpire out there when he comes flying by to try to make the tag. James Loney all the way over to second base to try to get involved in that play.
So that's now the 3rd hit allowed by Billingsley. Single by Gamble, home run by Conrad, and now a double with 2 outs to Niger Morgan. Here's Carlos Gomez, 26-year-old. Originally property of the New York Mets. He was involved in that trade that sent Johan Santana from the Twins to the Mets a handful of years ago. And then came to the Brewers in a 1-for-1 deal for J.J. Hardy. Hardy seems to be one of those guys that's continually undervalued. Seems to play a solid defensive shortstop and hits for good power as a middle infielder, yet he's gone from team to team to team in recent years.
Yeah, thought he kind of found a home there in Milwaukee, but that kind of came to an end quickly.
Ball and a strike to Carlos Gomez. Hard past Juan Uribe. Morgan being waved around third. The ball is not played properly by Juan Rivera. And it's going to allow not only a run to score, but it's going to allow Gomez to go from first to second. That's going to be an error on Rivera. His second fielding error in as many days.
We saw the same type of a play in yesterday's ball game that led to the 1 run that Clayton Kershaw gave up in yesterday's ball game. But, you just have to come in under control. He's coming in here trying to come up and make a throw to the home plate, but he fielded that ball too far off to his left side, and he never got it into the webbing of his glove. First thing you got to do is catch it.
Dodgers now as a team with 14 errors in their first 18 spring training games. So the inning continues. Gomez replacing Morgan on at second. Aramis Ramirez, a bounce out to shortstop his first time up. Looks like he may bounce out to the shortstop his second time up. Gordon, a line drive throw across the diamond. That'll retire the side, but the Brewers tie it up. An RBI single and an error by Juan Rivera allowed Morgan to score from second. We're tied at 3. Of the third, the Brewers and the Dodgers meeting for the first time this spring. They'll also meet 2 more times, once more here at Camelback Ranch and once over at the Brewers' place in Maryvale.
And look at the start so far by Chad Billingsley, and you think he's doing a pretty good job, but has been a victim of giving up those 2-out runs, and those are the ones that'll just kill you.
Matt Kemp leads things off here in the third inning. He spins away from a first pitch fastball. It'll be Kemp, Rivera, and Ethier. Dodgers have 5 hits, a couple of doubles, a triple, and a couple of singles. One of those singles by Matt Kemp back in the first inning. Back to the screen, a ball and 2 strikes.
Matt Kemp isn't one of those guys where you look at and say that he has a classic inside-out swing. But that's really what he tries to do, lead with his hands and let the bat head drag just a little bit. And that's why his power to right center field is so enormous. Really stays back, lets the barrel travel late through the zone. It seems like so far in spring training here that, you know, he's not quite there yet. You see the defensive outfield for him playing him pretty much straight up.
On the ground, that's going to make it through. Second hit of the day for Kemp. Steams around first, now he'll put on the brakes. Leadoff single for the Dodgers.
Take a look at Matt Kemp hustling down first base. Watch the way Matty runs, though. Good swing, inside out right there, hits it right up the middle. But look at him go. I mean, he does this hard. You know, he's coming around at you like a buffalo coming around first base, whereas D. Gordon run past you, you don't even see him. You don't hear him, you don't nothing. And there's a really good contrast between those two guys. Obviously, there's probably about 80 pounds between the two guys, too. But D is a very smooth athlete. And Matt Kemp is really going to let you know when he comes running past you.
So nobody out. Juan Rivera bats. He flew out to first. Check that to right field his first time up. And Steve, I want to ask you, what's Matt Gamble thinking about here? What's his rationale? He's holding on Kemp, who obviously has got great wheels and is an accomplished base stealer, but he's not holding him on in conventional fashion. He's being off the bag about 3 feet instead of being right on the bag.
Well, I think he's relying on Narvison's move. He understands when he's going to throw over. They probably have a little bit of a sign between themselves as far as when he might throw over. And so he figures he can get a decent defensive position where you see him. He's 10 feet off of first base. But that allows Matt Kemp to get a little bit more, too. And he can move with Gamble. So if Matt decides to go on a first move, he's got a better chance of stealing the bag. And I don't think there's any reason why Matt Kemp wouldn't be running.
There he goes. Got a great jump, and he'll have to go back to first base as this ball is looped out of play. Not going to get a better jump than what Matt had there.
See, that's what we're talking about. He's going to go on first move. As soon as Narveson lifts his leg, he's taken off. He has this base stolen easily. You know, sometimes if you're a hitter, you can realize that he gets such a great jump, you can take the pitch. Now he's on second base, but you know, obviously he fouled that pitch off. Rivera's got 2 strikes now.
Quick pitch, and that's going to make it through. Ramirez just threw the glove at it, and Kemp's going to go to third. The throw is offline, and Kemp safe at third. The throw over there. Now he's out. Oh, he rounded the bag too much, and Matt Kemp is out at third.
Well, this is a good play and a bad play all in the same play. Matt Kemp, great hustle. He realizes that Ramirez, Ramirez not going to get up. So Matty comes flying around second base, realizing that Ramirez is out of position, can't get back to the ball. But then when the ball skips past third, he thinks that he might have a chance to round and go all the way home. And there's Gutierrez right there in position, waiting to pick that up and throw it back to third for the out.
It's actually Narveson who was covering third there that gets credit for the putout of Kemp for rounding the bag too much. So the first out of the third inning comes at third base. Juan Rivera is on at second, and Andre Ethier the batter. Andre driving in a run back in the first inning on a ground ball out to the first baseman. Now has 7 runs batted in so far this spring. Good hitters count here, 2-0.
Ramirez was always known as a great defensive third baseman. Starting to get up there in age right now. That ball pretty much ate him up. But then he was just kind of messing around there on the ground, and when Kemp realized that he wasn't going to get up, figures, well, there's no one going to be there to cover third base, so I might as well keep going.
Yeah, one of the whispers out of Chicago when Aramis Ramirez was finishing up his tenure there was that maybe defensively not quite the player that he had been earlier in his career. Certainly didn't look very accomplished on that smash down to third.
It's kind of an odd concept to kind of go through. I mean, obviously defensively, if you have skills, those skills don't leave you except for maybe your range. If you can catch the ball, you generally can catch the ball.
First baseman Gamble picks it up, steps on the bag. Moving over to third now with 2 outs is Rivera.
You start to get older, maybe you don't have that first step quickness that you used to have, maybe you don't move around as well. But if you get to the ball, you should still, the skill of actually catching it really should erode.
I talked to a lot of guys, really good defenders, and ask, what's the most important thing that you work on in terms of your ability to field ground balls? And I frequently hear guys talk about their feet.
Footwork. Your feet are what get you in position and give you the base to actually catch the ball. The lower you can get, the better your eye level will stay closer to the ground. You'll see the hops better. But if you don't move your feet, not going to be very good.
James Loney had himself an RBI double his first time up. Takes a pitch for a strike, 0-1.
There are guys that don't do things fundamentally sound and are still able to do it. One guy that comes to mind is Juan Uribe, who you would not send Juan Uribe to any Little League clinic and say, here's how you catch the ball. But he catches the ball. Catches almost everything off to the side. Doesn't have great feet, doesn't put himself into very good position. But, baseball is the type of game, I believe anyway, where you can practice the wrong thing enough times and get good at it. There's a million different ways to hit, to feel, to do things. There seems to be a way that you should do it. But if you practice the wrong thing enough, you can get good at that too. And I think that's what Uribe's done.
0-2. 1-2. I don't know if you had a chance to see it yesterday, but Miguel Cabrera is trying to reacclimate over to third base, and he took one off the right eye. In the baseball community, there are a lot of people saying, well, he shouldn't be over there. To me, that was just a bad hop. Loney hits this one to right field. It's going to be an easy play for Niger Morgan. Makes the squeeze for the third out.
It was a bad hop, but he's going to play himself into a bunch of bad hops because he can't play third.
We played 3. It's a 3-3 tie. Dodgers and Brewers here in the desert. Welcome back, everyone. Camelback Ranch, Glendale. Dodgers' 4th year here in this facility. Chad Billingsley making his 4th start of the spring. And he throws first pitch fastball, strike 1, to Matt Gamble. Gamble singled and scored off of Billingsley back in the 2nd inning. Gamble hits this one hard right to right field. Andre Ethier makes the play. 3rd put out for Ethier so far early in this game.
I think you're right about Gamble, too. I mean, this is a kid that could find himself right in the middle of a lineup that used to be held down by Prince Fielder. Now, there's no way you're going to ask him to fill those shoes, but he's got 30 home run, 100 RBI type power. He's showed that in the minor leagues. He's going to be asked to do it right here in Milwaukee, and I think he's got a chance to have a great season in that lineup.
Here's the catcher, George Kataris, and he hits the ball into center field. Base hit for Kataris. That is now 5 hits allowed by Billingsley.
Kataris was a member of the Greek Olympic team back in 2004.
Only time the Greece has had an Olympic baseball team. They were hosting, so you get a chance to have an entry. All right, Steve. The Brewers have some wiggle room. They were 6 games better than the St. Louis Cardinals during the regular season. Now, of course, the Cardinals beat the Brewers in the playoffs last year and won the whole ball of wax. But the Brewers, 96-win team a year ago. Their best player is still here, Ryan Braun. Prince Fielder is out. Realistically, are they still a 90-win team?
I believe they are, because I still think you're talking about a semi-weak division that they're playing on. And I think that they're the class of that division. So I don't see any reason for them, because they still have a great combination of starting pitching, an outstanding back half of the bullpen. We still have K-Rod and Axford back there to close things down. If you make it a 7-inning game, you can go home because it's over and they're going to win. And they still have outstanding offensive potential in that lineup. As you talked about, in this lineup today, we're not seeing Ricky Weeks. We're not seeing Corey Hart. Not seeing Ryan Braun. You know, I mean, these guys.
Alex Gonzalez?
Yeah.
0-2 to Brooks Conrad. He homered on a 2-strike pitch his last time up. Flares this one out of play. Billingsley was cruising along. 2 outs in the second inning. Had a 1-2 count on Brooks Conrad. And a breaking ball that was on the outer half. Conrad just went with it. Knocked it into the Dodger bullpen.
Sink a fastball up there, get a ground ball right here, and get out of it.
Breaking ball, this one tight but low. 1-2. Yeah, you look around the NL Central, which is where the Brewers find themselves. You got the Cubs, full-fledged rebuilding mode. You've got the Astros, who are still trying to find themselves. And you got the Pirates, who haven't had a winning season in a generation. Now, of course, you got the NL champs, or you got the Major League champs, the Cardinals. But during the regular season last year, the Brewers were 6 games better than the Cardinals, and the Cardinals lost their best player as well.
Cardinals was just, and a big-time manager they lost. They're kind of starting over organizational-wise there in St. Louis. Mike Matheny taking over as manager after La Russa stepped down. Pujols gone.
2-2, fouled back to the screen. I do like Cincinnati. I think the Reds also in the NL Central have a good club.
They'll throw their hat in it, I think. Now you look at what St. Louis did last year. If you remember, the Dodgers came in there, mid-September, and swept St. Louis. And they were a team that looked dead and gone. I think they fell back as many as 12 games. And then as soon as the Dodgers left, it was like they never lost another game. I mean, they were a team that just, you could say, hey, we could make up 7 or 8 games here in September because we're playing really well. You could point to a team that looks like they've started to put things together. But this team was dead when we were there. And the Dodgers swept them. And turned it around like they were turning on a light switch or something.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Billingsley has not walked anyone so far. There goes the runner. Pitch misses outside. Runner's on at first and at second with 1 out here in the 4th. So Kataris on at second. Conrad on at first. And the shortstop is Torres will bat.
This is where you really have to go hard at a guy in the back half of the order. You're talking about Torres is not an offensive threat. Still runs pretty well, but you got to get a ground ball out of him, get the double play, and get out of this inning right now. And this is where Chad has had trouble in middle innings.
Misses again. And that's going to prompt a meeting on the mound between A.J. Ellis and Chad.
A.J. Ellis is going to come out there right now, and this is a good move by him to tell him to finish his pitches. Really came out of that one. Just let the ball go way too early. It sailed up and away to Ethier. A little pep talk to say, look, this is the guy you want right here. Bear down right now.
Pitcher's spot is next. Is this Narveson coming out? It is. He's just coming out of the dugout right now. (1-0). There's a strike. Dodgers scored their 3 runs in the first inning. RBI single, Mark Ellis. RBI ground out, Andre Ethier. And an RBI double by James Loney. Brewers storming back with 2 in the second on a home run by Brooks Conrad. And another run in the third. Now threatening here in the 4th. 2-1 now. There's a strike. Count evens. Ethier is still just 32 years of age. He was with the Dodgers when he was a very young player, 2002 to 2006, winning that Gold Glove in 2004. Spent the last 3 years in Baltimore, and last year, really a lost season. Played just 18 games. Dealing with a groin issue, had an elbow problem. Did he go too far? Yes, he did. That's going to be a strikeout for Billingsley, his 3rd. There are now 2 outs here in the 4th inning.
Big strikeout right there, as we talked about. Guy at the back half of the order, go after him hard. Get him out of there. If you get a ground ball, maybe you get a double play. If not, you see the pitcher. There's the check swing. Can't do that. That's a strike. Good job by A.J. Ellis getting down and knock that thing down.
And now you go right after the pitcher. Narveson, a strikeout victim, back in the third. Fastball sails high.
Narveson didn't do much with his at-bat. His first opportunity, he struck out, but he did take some good hacks up there, so he looks like he could be a guy that could be dangerous if you forget about him.
I'll tell you what's dangerous about Chris Narveson. Him with a pair of scissors. He was on the disabled list last year. 15-day disabled list. He was trying to repair his glove and was using scissors. And he suffered a left thumb laceration. And he missed 3 starts because of it. That was the only thing that kept him from having just a season in which he was able to take the ball every 5 days for Ron Renneke.
You know, there are guys in the clubhouse that will do that stuff for you. The glove's coming apart. Can you fix this? Yep.
For Tampa Bay, David Price earlier this spring had to leave a game because he injured his neck while toweling off. That's tipped at the plate. We'll stay at 1-2.
You know, I'm all for telling the truth and everything, but, you know, if you injure your neck while toweling off, make up a story. I slipped on the steps, fell down, went down headlong 3 steps, and landed on my neck. It wasn't because I was
saving
dabbing.
a drowning dog in the local pond.
I was dabbing a little sweat off the back of my neck, and now I have a herniated disc.
1-2. Swung on and missed. Tardy on that fastball, side retired. So Billingsley gets into trouble, and then he strikes out his Turris and Narveson to get out of it. Bills now with 4 strikeouts in the game. Dodgers and Brewers tied at 3. NL Cy Young Award, and he'll be presented with the trophy before the game on April 11th. The Dodgers taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates at 7:10 p.m. Be sure to share in the ceremony and receive your very own Clayton Kershaw Cy Young replica presented by StubHub. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions today. There's Tommy Lasorda, good old number 2. Hanging out. He's been there for the bulk of these Cactus League games, hanging out with Trey Hillman and Don Mattingly and his coaching staff.
Well, you know, I mean, this guy's been through the wars. Every once in a while, he's got something good to say, and I'm pretty sure Donnie's going to listen. I know that Tommy knows that this club is in good hands with the coaching staff that they have right now, but you know, Donnie's one of those guys that he wants an opinion from everybody.
We've been here last week, and before the game. There's always, people milling around watching batting practice and pitcher fielding practice and guys going through drills. And you can always find Tommy Lasorda. Each and every day we see him holding court. He's got a little kind of picnic table in front of him. He's signing autographs, meeting people. So he is still very much a part of this Dodger family. Every single day he is out there talking about Dodger blue. Juan Uribe didn't mean to. Ball hits his bat. And it's now ball and 2 strikes. Uribe, A.J. Ellis, Chad Billingsley scheduled here in this 4th inning against Chris Narveson.
See if he goes to the changeup here. Breaking ball.
Second baseman. This is Conrad. Nice play. You know him as a third baseman, trying to prove that he can play second. Makes a nice play there.
Nice little play by Conrad going around the ball to his right. The toughest play right there for the second baseman to make is to make sure that you get a good angle on your glove. You have to have your glove perpendicular to the ground so you can get the ball in there and then get it out and make the throw. Sometimes a guy will go over and make that play, but his glove's a little flat. Ball goes off the heel of your glove and you don't make the play.
First pitch to A.J. Ellis is strike 1. Guys getting ready for the regular season. The glamour thing is batting practice, getting your swings and trying to get things grooved that way. How difficult is it for a veteran player like Brooks Conrad to get defensively where he needs to be before opening day?
Well, he has played some second base over there, and a lot of guys take it as a fun challenge. I mean, you're always going to get your swings in, and then the extra time that you put in is more defensive work. You know, there's not an everyday player in the world that's going to miss out on getting his batting practice. But if you're a guy who's changing positions or working on a couple different positions, you're going to be staying extra.
Guys hitting, you see them take soft tosses, they hit off the tee, they take dry swings, and of course there's batting practice. What do guys do at this level besides just taking ground balls, or is that just it defensively?
Well, you take a ton of ground balls. I mean, that's a huge thing. But if you're switching positions, like Conrad going from third to second, you try to take ground balls in game-type situations. What's the situation on this ground ball? Is there a guy on base? There's a guy on third. So you put yourself in every position or situation that might come up in a game.
3-2 pitch to Ellis, lifted in the air, right field. Niger Morgan drifting back makes the play.
Those are the kind of situations, too, where the coaching staff really comes into play. If you look at your infield instructor, hey, we're going to take 50 ground balls now to your backhand side with a guy on base. You know, we're going to take you 50 ground balls up the middle with, in this situation, the guy's on second. In this situation, there's a guy on first. Here you have to turn the double play. So that there's not a situation that can come up into a game that will surprise you.
First pitch to Billingsley down in the dirt. Chad bounced out to third. His only plate appearance so far today. I remember a handful of years ago when Matt Williams was still playing, seeing Matt Williams take ground balls with this apparatus on his hand. It looked like a kind of a makeshift ping pong paddle.
Yep.
And he was trying to, I guess, develop soft hands by fielding with this hard, flat surface on his glove hand.
Probably just a piece of plywood with a band on the back to stick your finger or your hands in there behind it, and that is just to catch the ball with two hands and really catch the ball with your throwing hand. Most middle infielders, shortstop and second baseman, we have Torres in this game here playing for Milwaukee, just one of the best. Those guys are just stopping the ball and throwing it. They're not really catching it.
Count goes full to Billingsley, 3-2.
Well, I just had so much fun watching Izzy play shortstop for the Dodgers when he was here for those years. There was nothing getting by that guy.
Narvis in the payoff. We'll do it again.
It's funny, I heard the term used in a Little League game. You have to alligator the ball. Get your glove out there and then alligators. Get your throwing hand in there on top of the ball to use two hands. And not sure if that's the greatest terminology to use, but there's a visual there that you can see. That doesn't count. That guy caught that on a hop.
I remember when I was a kid, coaches used to always get down on one knee. At this level, you can't go down on one knee, but that was a big deal.
Well, you know, occasionally you'll see a guy at second base that they hit it over there. You got to make sure you make the play. Tony Phillips used to go down to one knee every once in a while, pick it up, throw him out.
Chad is hooking up the fans down the right field line. Just a foul ball for everyone.
I love it. Now his son's beating him up.
He's not giving it to his son. There you go. I think at the last moment he did.
Well, he wanted to get the glory first.
Good at bat. Chad Billingsley saw everything Narveson had and works his way on for the walk.
Well, he loves to swing the bat. Pretty good AB right there.
First walk allowed by Narveson, and the inning continues, and we'll go to D. Gordon. Already a perfect 2 for 2 with a double and a triple. So D, his first 28 at-bats in the spring, nothing but singles. His 2 at-bats today, both extra base hits. That triple and a double. The triple smoked, hit the straightaway center field, and probably could have thought about going for the inside the Parker. And the double was just a looping fly ball into right field that fell in front of the center fielder, Carlos Gomez. And by the time Nigel Morgan picked it up, it was a hustle double for Gordon.
I would say that D. Gordon is going to have the opportunity, maybe more than once, to go for an inside the park home run this year.
On the ground, backhanded by Conrad, and he boots it. Oh, and they still get the force out at second. Chad didn't slide, and it's going to be out number 3 on the base path. I think we may need to take a look again at that. Looked like Chad was there, but he's out at second. So we played 4 here at Camelback Ranch, Glendale. We're still tied 3 apiece, Dodgers and Brewers. Just tied at 3. The 4th coming to an end on a force out at second. Chad Billingsley out by a whisker, we think.
I don't know. Let's take another look at it. Conrad got a little nonchalant there. The ball kicks away from him. Then by the time he gets it back to his tourist, Chad's left foot was already on the base for about a half a step. I think he was safe. But I don't get to make the call down there at second base, and there's Chad back out there pitching again.
So the Dodgers 3 runs on 7 hits. The Brewers 3 runs on 5 hits. Top of the lineup, Logan Schaefer will be followed by Nigel Morgan and Carlos Gomez. Schaefer, 25 years of age, drafted in the 3rd round back in 2008. College player, played at Cal Poly for the Mustangs.
Now going back to that play there where Billingsley was out at second. Remember who the hitter was. It was Gordon, and it's just amazing to see the influence that speed has on the game. Conrad wasn't going to throw that ball to first base, but maybe one of the reasons why he didn't, sometimes you just say, hey, it's a ground ball up the middle, I'm going to take the ball, I'm going to get the out at first because there's 2 outs, and this is do it that way. He said, no way, I'm going to go. Maybe he had to make a split-second decision to go to second instead, and that's where the fumble came in. The speed of Gordon may have affected that play, even though he wasn't involved in it.
Routine to Ellis. He's going to make all of those plays this year. And Schaefer now 0 for 3.
Mark Ellis has not made more than 6 errors in a season in the last 10 years.
So 1 up and 1 down. Here's Niger Morgan. He doubled and scored his last time up. Probably should have had a triple, but he stumbled over the bag at second. Didn't make any difference. He eventually came in to score on a single by Carlos Gomez. Niger now 31 years of age. Originally with Pittsburgh Pirates. Also seen him with the Nationals before coming over to Milwaukee last year and becoming a big-time spark plug for them. Breaking ball of beauty, 1-2.
Was it Morgan that was the spark plug, or was it T. Plush?
Tony Plush, yeah. He's one of those guys with multiple personalities.
I haven't heard much about T. Plush so far this season.
Spring training. T. Plush doesn't play spring training.
He's already ready.
Niger last year hitting .304 with 4 homers. Stole 13 bases. Checks his swing on a pitch just outside. So the count goes full, 3-2. Well, we may be getting close to the end of the line for Chad Billingsley. We're also expecting to see Josh Lindblom, Will Ledesma, Ronald Belisario, and Ramon Troncoso in some form of order. 3-2 hit hard down the right field line. That one's going to go foul. Just barely. Would have been extra bases from Morgan.
Well, I would figure that Chad Billingsley and this far into spring training would be thinking about getting up around 80 to 90 pitches to keep lengthening that arm out, get the arm strength going. I know that they wanted Clayton Kershaw to throw about 90 in yesterday's ball game.
There's a walk. That's the second walk allowed by Billingsley. And Morgan on at first with 1 out. So Carlos Gomez, 1 for 2 with an RBI.
Gomez originally was supposed to lead off in today's lineup. When they scratched Ryan Braun from the lineup, they bumped Gomez down to third, brought Schaefer in to lead the game off. But all I know is if it's opening day, don't throw a first pitch fastball to Gomez. Each of the last 2 seasons, he's led the season off with solo home runs.
About as good as it got for him last year. Finished .225 in 94 games. Was on the disabled list 2 separate times.
Yep, sometimes when you're not a home run hitter, hitting a home run is the worst thing. He did have a career high in home runs last year, but it was 8. So, you know, if you're not going to be a home run hitter, a lot of times when you go up there trying to hit home runs, you end up hitting .225 instead of hitting .290 with 4 home runs and being a more productive player. I wish I would have figured that out when I was playing. I went up there way too many times trying to hit a home run, and I couldn't hit him.
Weak swing, and the count is 1-1. Now Carlos Gomez, one of 4 players in the big leagues last year, 4 center fielders to play at least 85 games and not commit an error.
He could run him down, too.
Jacoby Ellsbury, Shane Victorino, Franklin Gutierrez of Seattle, and Carlos Gomez.
Oops.
That's going to get away from Ellis all the way to the backstop. So Morgan now in scoring position. Got a wild pitch or a passed ball?
That's a passed ball right there. And it might have fooled Ellis a little bit. That ball he might have cut that fastball. It might have been supposed to be a four-seamer, and he cut it. It looked like Ellis just reached for it and couldn't quite get a glove on it. You don't see A.J. Ellis make very many lazy mistakes, so I think that ball just may have cut on him a little more than he expected it to, and it got away. Now, if you're a pitcher and you have a cut fastball or a slider and the ball moves, let's just say it moves a foot. But if you're the catcher and you're expecting a four-seam fastball that's supposed to stay true and that ball starts to move on you, it can get away from you quickly.
3-1 now to Gomez. Aramis Ramirez will hit next. Three tie, top of the fifth inning. Dodgers and Brewers. High and out of play.
Chad's starting to fall into that pattern that we saw in his last start, going 3-2 on all the hitters, throwing too many pitches.
Again, the 3-2. And again out of play. Let's look back. We've got some perspective now. It's been 4 years since that trade that sent Johan Santana from the Twins to the Mets. And that was a big deal. Big deal. Season in the offseason right before the 2008 campaign. The Mets gave up the man at the plate right now, Carlos Gomez, right-handed pitcher Dialis Guerra, Phil Umber, and Kevin Maltby in exchange for Johan Santana. Now, Santana's not been great. He's been dealing with injuries since he's been in New York. Missed almost all of last season. But for a guy like Santana, who was a Cy Young Award winner, who had done good things, you just need to get more than what the Twins got in exchange.
You don't like that move, huh?
I don't. I don't think the Twins do at all. Hard but foul down the left field line now.
Well, like you said, though, the Twins would have had to pay Santana the type of money that he's making with the Mets, and he hasn't really lived up to that deal. $126 million or something, you know.
Well, they weren't just
money.
trying to get rid of him. They're trying to better their team. And the players that they chose from the Mets, I think they could have done better. I think they would have liked to have done that again. This one's going to be playable. It's on the infield. Mark Ellis calls for it. There are now 2 outs here in the fifth inning. Now time is called. Here comes Don Mattingly. Is that it for Chad Billingsley?
I think it could be. When you talk about the last 2 hitters, Niger Morgan and then right there Gomez, just a ton of pitches just between those 2 guys, only to get one of them out.
So Don Mattingly is going to take the ball away from Chad Billingsley. We're going to have a new pitcher. It's going to be a left-hander. Wilfredo Ledesma comes on with a runner on at second and 2 outs here in the top of the fifth. 3-3 tie. Camelback Ranch, Glendale. Top of the 5th inning, 2 outs, runner on at second. Chad Billingsley is lifted for Wilfredo Ledesma.
Ledesma, an interesting story. He's actually doing a good job down here in spring training for the Dodgers. Allowed just 1 run over 4 1/3 innings. Making another appearance here today. Got just over 5 years in the big leagues. However, played for 7 different teams over 11 seasons. Got his break with the Detroit Tigers, 03 and 04 and 05, 06 again. Then Atlanta, back to Detroit, San Diego, Arizona, back to San Diego. Washington, Pittsburgh, last year in Toronto.
Working to Ramos Ramirez, pitch misses outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ledesma to Ramirez. You didn't even mention the fact that he originally was signed by the Boston Red Sox. Never made it to the big leagues with them. That's his original organization.
You're never sure from year to year what color shoes you're going to be wearing.
In 2007, he's with 3 different teams: Detroit, Atlanta, and San Diego.
Well, he's got a pretty good contrast. He throws pretty hard for a left-hander, and then he's got that good changeup that you saw right there. Can get hitters out on their front foot and make them look silly every once in a while.
The 31-year-old left-hander from Venezuela. Ball and 2 strikes to Ramirez. And now it's going to go to the backstop. Second time this inning that a pitch has gotten away from the Dodger battery, and it's going to allow Morgan to move over to third.
That's what we talked about right there with Ledesma. He does throw hard, but when you get up and away from one, I think he can get back to the backstop pretty quickly.
And last year he pitched just 6 innings in the big leagues, but he had 2 wild pitches in those 6 innings with the Blue Jays. A little bit low. Count goes full. 3-2 to Ramos Ramirez. Niger Morgan walked, moved to second on a passed ball, moved to third on a wild pitch. He represents the go-ahead run. It's a 3-3 tie here in the 5th. Second walk of the inning allowed. Runners now on at the corners.
This is the kind of situation that Don Mattingly wants to see out of his bullpen. Bullpen for the Dodgers, certainly a strength over the last few seasons. Chad Billingsley battled through his start there, and with a guy on third base, you want to make sure that whoever comes in and shuts the door with 2 outs.
Probably not the worst thing in the world, walking Ramirez to get to the left-handed swinging Matt Gamble. Dodgers want to see what Gamble can do against southpaw. Pretty good cut there. Fouls it back to the screen. Gamble's hit the ball hard twice today. Singled and scored in the 2nd inning and lined out to right field in the 4th. A little bit low, 1-1. Gamble's been around. First got his feet wet at the big leagues in 2008. Spent a handful of games in the big leagues in 08, 2009, 2010, and last year. Originally drafted back in 2005 in the 4th round by the Brewers. There's a good fastball for a strike. Gamble, a career .304 hitter in the minor leagues with 105 home runs in 746 games. The big leagues, totally different story. .222 with 5 homers in 85 big league games.
Yeah, I think those the sporadic opportunities, I think, have really hurt him. Goes Ramirez to steal second base with nobody really caring about it.
So Ramirez the stolen base. So 2 runners in scoring position now for the Brewers. Two. Lifted deep left center field. Rivera going back. He's going to have room, and he makes the play just shy of the warning track. Gamble gave it a ride, but Rivera runs it down. Ledesma takes a while, but he does his job. Strands a pair. Home half of the 5th inning when we come back. A 3-3 tie, Brewers and Dodgers. From Camelback Ranch in Glendale, Arizona, with Steve Lyons, I'm Eric Collins. Dodgers now in their 4th year at this facility. And folks, if you haven't been here, it is a jewel. Just for comparison's sake, Steve and I, we had a chance to go to a Goodyear and see where the Indians and the Reds train. Dodgers playing against the Indians yesterday. And that's another new facility, and it's nice, but it's not Camelback Ranch.
Yeah, I don't think you can compare the facilities at all, considering that you have both the White Sox and the Dodgers here. You have 17 fields here at Camelback Ranch. The minor league fields and the workout fields over there at Goodyear were half a mile away, it seemed like. It was tough for the fans to get around and watch everybody. The facilities didn't look nearly as nice, but if you have to go watch a game or two over there, it's not bad. Just not Camelback Ranch.
Mark Ellis leads things off here in the 5th inning. New pitcher for the Brewers. It's Marco Estrada.
Estrada last year for Milwaukee, his numbers didn't look that good. He was 4-8, but everything else looked pretty good. He had almost a 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Pitched out of the pen. He made 7 starts for this team. So the win-loss numbers just didn't look all that good for him.
You should feel at home right here. He makes his offseason home in Glendale. Born and raised in Sonora, Mexico. But now has a place just probably a couple of blocks away. Maybe he walked to the game.
Doesn't even have to take a shower here. He can just walk back home and shower at home. Hides behind his glove before he gets the sign and delivers his pitch.
3-1. There's a called strike to Ellis, 3-2. Well, Estrada does have some California connections. He went to Sylmar High School, went to Glendale Community College, and then finished up his college baseball at Long Beach State.
It was a dirt bag. There he is. There's a good shot at him just hiding back there with his own thoughts, trying to figure out how to throw another strike. Needs one right here, 3-2.
Ellis jumps away from that one. It's ball 4. So Estrada comes out of the pen and walks the first man he faces. So Matt Kemp will bat. Nobody out on a runner on at first base. Kemp so far today a perfect 2 for 2 with a single in the first and a single in the third. There's a good fastball for a strike. Told you Estrada played at Long Beach State. He was part of that 2005 Long Beach State team that had Evan Longoria on it. Troy Tulowitzki was on it. Yet somehow they didn't go to the College World Series.
Was Ryan Spielborg's a member of that club as well?
I think Jared Weaver was.
Weaver?
Yeah. Weaver. No balls, 2 strikes. Estrada to Kemp. Ellis on at first base. Estrada takes his time, now delivers, and that's called strike 3. Matt Kemp was trying to call timeout. And the veteran Kemp did not get timeout called by the home plate umpire, and he's going to be rung up on 3 pitches.
Yeah, Matt certainly didn't like what was going out on the mound there. Check it out again here on a replay. Matt there trying to call timeout. That was a little late, though, as far as calling timeout, but Matt didn't like how long the ball was being held on the mound. The home plate umpire does not have to grant the hitter timeout anymore. His discretion. He can say, stay ready to hit.
So first time today that Kemp is retired. He's 2 for 3. Juan Rivera takes a breaking ball for a strike. Rivera 1 for 2. Defensively, he's had a bit of an adventure today. Made an error for the second consecutive day. Both errors the exact same thing, charging a ball and just missing. Into center field. Catch is made by Logan Schaefer. Schaefer had been playing in left, moving over to center. Here in inning number 5, there are now 2 outs. Ellis remains on at first. One other defensive substitution to tell you about. New left fielder replacing Schaefer, who went from left to center, is Caleb Gindel. So it's an outfield of Gindel, Schaefer, and Morgan for the Brewers. 2 outs, Andre Ethier, the batter. He's bounced a ball to first twice today. Scored a run with his fielder's choice ground ball to the first baseman in the first, and in the third, 3 unassisted. Ball 1. Ethier now 10 for 24 on the spring.
I think the thing that I'm really looking for out of the at-bats for Andre Ethier is just balance and distribution.
Foul down the left field line.
Nice play down there by a guy with a glove. Just caught it, handed it to his kid, said, let me just sit down here. But Andre, with all the knee problems that he had last year and the other physical ailments, you really just want to see if he's got his base back underneath him. Leading all of baseball in doubles down here, so you know he's driving the ball a little bit better than he was able to at the back half of last season.
Oh, man, turning on this one, hits it high and deep to right field. Morgan going back. It's gone. A 2-run home run, Andre Ethier. Home run number 2 on the spring. And the Dodgers reclaim the lead 5-3.
That's pretty good balance right there. You know, there's not very few better left-handed swings in all of baseball when Andre Ethier is right. Watch the balance. Little leg kick there. Great follow-through. fastball went a mile high. He really didn't get all of it, but he got enough of it to get out of here.
So it's a 3 RBI day for Andre Ethier. Now finds himself among the leaders in the Cactus League in that category. He now has 11 hits on the spring. 8 of those 11 hits, Steve, have been for extra bases. 6 doubles and now 2 home runs. First ball swinging, James Loney bounces out to the second baseman, Conrad. Side retired, but the Dodgers score a pair. One swing of the bat, Andre Ethier off of Marco Estrada. Dodgers up 5-3 as we head to inning number 6. Brewers here at Camelback Ranch, Glendale. 2-run home run by Andre Ethier off of Marco Estrada. Dodgers looking for their 9th spring win. Will Ledesma pitching here in the 6th inning. Throws a breaking ball, strike 1 to the catcher, George Gutares. Gutares, Conrad, and Estrada scheduled to bat here in the 6th inning. Dodgers scored 3 times in the 1st inning and were blanked in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th before that 2-run 5th. All right, Steve, we've got a battle here of probably the things that last the longest in the world of baseball. Left-handed relievers and left-handed hitting catchers.
They can hang around forever.
I can't figure out the situation with left-handed hitting catchers, but that seems to be something that's always in demand. Not exactly sure why, but
well, it seems like almost every catcher is a right-handed hitter, and if you can use a backup catcher or even your starter to get an extra left-handed bat in the lineup against right-handed pitching, it's kind of an advantage to have. Switch-hitting catchers.
Josh Bard is in the Dodgers camp this spring.
Are like gold if they can play.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Gutares. That's going to be an issue. The first man that Ledesma has faced, both coming out of the pen in the 5th and now leading off the 6th, he has walked. It's one of the things that people keep track of nowadays. What you do to the first guy when you come out of the pen and what you do to that first guy leading off an inning. You need to have initial success if you want to have continued success.
What's the acronym for those people that pay attention to that stuff?
Brooks Conrad, switch hitter, turns around and bats on the right side for the first time. Still without the batting gloves. Mark Grace never wore batting gloves. Just a handful of guys over the years that don't wear batting gloves.
Bunch of them before they were invented. I believe you know who says he invented.
Yeah, who says he invented, yeah.
The batting glove.
Legend has it that Hawk Harrelson.
What was he out gardening one day and he brought a glove in and decided to use that while he was hitting?
I thought the legend was he was golfing and he had played 36 holes that day. And his hands were blistered from golfing. And so he said, you know what, I'm just going to keep my golf gloves on and take batting practice. And he had a good round of BP and maybe he had a home run that game and the batting glove was born.
Well, clearly if he had blisters on his hand, his golf glove wasn't working.
What did you feel a batting glove did for you?
Well, I think guys feel like they can get a better grip on the bat, and you can get a bunch of pine tar all over the glove and get it all over your bat, and yet then it's not all over your hands. So a lot of guys don't feel all that comfortable with that pine tar and sticky stuff all over your hands when you're going to go try to throw the ball, or you don't want that inside your glove. So almost every guy will wear a glove on his fielding hand inside his glove.
Swung on and missed. Ledesma strikes out Conrad for the first out here in the sixth.
So it's almost like a cleanliness issue. Let's see what he goes with here. There's a backdoor sinking fastball right there that gets Conrad.
So for the guys that choose not to wear the glove, it's basically just a feel type of thing. They like to feel the grain of the bat in their hands.
Yeah, or they don't mind. They're going to get a little bit of pine tar. You see Conrad had pine tar all over his bat and on his hands.
Here's the shortstop, is Torres, who bats on the right side for the first time. So back-to-back switch hitters in Ron Reineke's lineup. Conrad and now is Torres.
Some guys might not like wearing the batting gloves, but they've figured out a way they can get paid to wear them. Can endorse a batting glove company, wear the gloves, get some money. There's a lot of guys that wear sunglasses during the day. They don't even wear them. They're just stuck on the top of their head. Never quite sure what the point of that was.
Ball and a strike now. Hard but foul. How sacred is the fielding glove for a position player? Say, I've been a Rawlings guy my entire life, but Wilson comes out of the blue and says, you know what? We'll pay you X amount of dollars to wear this glove. Is there a player who would get rid of his glove that got him to the big leagues just to wear a glove that he's getting paid to wear?
Yeah, there are some guys that do it because a lot of the gloves are basically the same, but I wasn't one of those guys. I found the type of glove that I liked the best. I did sign a contract with Rawlings to wear gloves, but as time went on, I played so many different positions. I liked the Rawlings fielding gloves in the infield and the outfield. I always felt that Wilson made the best first baseman and catcher's gloves, and so I had that too. Heck, my high school graduation present was $100 silver and a Wilson A2000 outfielder's glove.
All right. Have you ever seen a big league baseball player wearing a glove that had a signed glove that it wasn't his? Like, say, for example, the old Dale Murphy glove or something like that. Did you ever play with Harold Baines and he was wearing a signed? Or does that end when you get out of Little League?
Yeah, there's no more signed gloves. In fact, most of these guys have their own gloves signed by themselves now. You'll see stitched right down the thumb their own name. I always thought that was kind of cool. That came in after I was done playing. I always had to write Psycho on my glove so no one would steal it from me. Ellis, there's his gamers in fine shape right there. Very small second baseman's gloves, as we talked before. All he wants to do is stop the ball and throw it.
There goes the runner from first. Breaking ball, called strike 3. It's going to be a strikeout. Kataris moves into scoring position, but they're now 2 down.
Well, it just looked like Izzy got fooled by this pitch. That's just a pretty good cut fastball right on the inner half of the plate. Couldn't pull the trigger on it.
So back-to-back strikeouts of Conrad and Estures. And Kataris on at second with 2 outs now. And here's our first look at Caleb Gindel. Gindel came on defensively, home half of the 5th inning. Left-handed swinger. So we expected to see Ryan Braun. He was a late scratch. Instead, we saw Logan Schaefer. And now we're seeing Caleb Gindel. So it's been a revolving door out there in left field for the Brewers.
You know, we're talking about gloves so much, and you know how a lot of times, like if a pitcher will have a bad outing, sometimes you'll see him come into the dugout and slam his glove or throw his glove on the ground or something. You won't see very many everyday players do that. That may have come from something that my dad taught me a long time ago. He said, hey, treat your glove the way you want your glove to treat you. You better be nice to that thing if you want it to catch the ball for you.
2-0 to Gindel. 3-0 now. Caleb Gindel doesn't have any big league time. Last year spent the entire season with the Nashville Sounds. He's from Pensacola, Florida. He's 23 years of age. Picked in the 5th round back in 2007. Takes a pitch for a strike, 3-1.
Well, Desmond's had some successful outings for the Dodgers so far in spring camp, but he's got to be a guy that's going to come in and throw a few more strikes than he has thrown today. One of those guys you want him to come in there, throw strikes, get outs, get back in so the Dodgers can swing their bats in those middle innings of a ball game where you're either trying to lengthen out a lead or get yourself back into it.
He's thrown about 25 pitches so far this inning, and we haven't had a ball put in play. Walked Kataris and then struck out Conrad and Estures. Now runs the count full to Gindel. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Down in the dirt, that's going to be the second walk issued by Ledesma here in this 6th inning. Runners at first and at second. So Ledesma trying to make the team. Walks a couple here in the 6th inning. If you remember that walk in the 5th inning, he's now pitched to 6 batters and walked half of them. Ramirez, Kataris, and now Gindel all getting free passes. Back to the top of the lineup, and Logan Schaefer 0 for 3 against Chad Billingsley. Oh, they had the runner picked off at second, but Ledesma throws it into center field. That's going to allow a run to score. So the Brewers have not put a ball in play here in the 6th inning, and they've already scored a run, and they've got another man in scoring position.
Well, I don't know. You can get nitpicky, and it's spring training. And here's a pickoff play that they put on, and this is the time to work on those things. They clearly had the guy picked off. But if I'm D. Gordon and you have that play set up between yourself and the pitcher, I'm not sure I try to put that play on in this situation because my pitcher hasn't shown that he can throw the ball over the plate. How do I know he's not going to throw it into center field if we try a pickoff play just like he did?
So that's an error on Ledesma, allowing Kataris to score from second. And Gindel checks in now at second. I was walking along some of the fields 2.5 hours before today's game, and that's exactly what the Dodgers as a team were working on. Everyone was involved. It was hitters and pitchers all involved on bunt plays and pickoffs around the bases.
Yeah, and that's the kind of the other side of that point. It's like, you know, this is where you work on that stuff. This is where you try to get things figured out. And so if you're going to make a mistake, this is where you should make the mistake too. That's all those guys do down there. Bunt plays, pickoff plays. And you don't see many pickoff plays happen during the season, especially at second base.
1 ball, no strikes to Schaefer. There's a strike, 1-1.
The reason why they work on him so much, especially around the bag at second, is because most of those are timing plays. You're asking the pitcher to turn and throw at a certain point in time. It's not like he just looks up and sees that the guy's coming in to pick him off. It's a play set up that they have timing between both the shortstop and the pitcher, maybe the second baseman. And it takes a lot of repetition to work it out.
Gindel going to third. Throw down there, and he's going to be out. What was he thinking? What's the urgency to getting over to third with 2 outs? Gindel caught with his hand in the cookie jar. And the Dodgers, now they give up a run, but they keep the lead. 5-4 is our score. We head to the home half of inning number 6. Between the Dodgers and the National League Central champion Milwaukee Brewers. Dodgers on top of this one, 5-4 as we play the home half of the 6th inning. With Steve Lyons, I'm Eric Collins. Juan Uribe will lead things off against Marco Estrada. Uribe takes strike 1. Juan is 0 for 2 with a fly out to center field and a bounce out to second. Dodgers scoring 3 times in the 1st inning, 2 more times in the 5th. On a 2-run home run by Andre Ethier. Andre's had a 3 RBI game. Little number right side.
Weather's starting to heat back up here in Arizona after a couple of stormy days as the wind and the rain blew through and the temperatures dropped. High of about 65 today, 75 tomorrow, and then back into the 80s for the weekend. If you're going to make a trip out here to Camelback Ranch and see some baseball, good weekend to do it.
Tomorrow's game right here at Camelback Ranch, Glendale. It's going to be the Padres in town. Ted Lilly is going to get the start against Tim Stauffer. Into shallow center field, Logan Schaefer comes storming in and makes the play. So Uribe 0 for 3 this afternoon. So 1 out and A.J. Ellis will grab a bat. A.J. bounced out to short in the 2nd inning and flew out to right in the 4th.
Brewers fans, come up with something better than that, will you? Even Diamondbacks fans are better than this.
Strike 1 to Ellis.
Tim Fedorovich grabbing a bat on deck. How about that number he's wearing?
31. Mike Piazza, a little bit of little pressure there. 0-2 now to Ellis. Oh, AJ rips this one down the left field line. It's going to hang up and be snared by Caleb Gindel. That ball came off his bat like a house of fire and just died out there in front of Gindel for out number 2. Here's Fedorovich. Fedorovich finishing off last season with the Dodgers. More than likely, he is destined to begin the season playing minor league baseball. This is a guy who the Dodgers are high on. College player from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
If you look around Major League Baseball, you'll find that one of the positions that really is deficient now is good catchers, good hitting catchers, good catch and throw guys. Fedorovich was a guy that they liked out of the Boston organization, was involved in the Trayvon Robinson deal to get him over here, and they felt like they really needed somebody who could develop into a decent hitting catcher that could handle a pitching staff.
He was given an opportunity tail end of last season to just kind of get his feet wet and figure out what things are all about. You're always looking for more catchers just to make things easier on your starters. So he was a September call-up. Got into 7 games, 13 at bats. Picked up 2 hits, both of them singles. The 3-1 pitch. And the walk is issued. So a 2-out walk allowed. And the Dodgers will turn over that lineup. D. Gordon will bat once again. It's now 2 walks issued by Estrada since he came on. Checked at the bottom of the 5th inning. D. Gordon, a triple, scored a run in the 1st inning, doubled and was stranded in the 2nd. He's also bounced out to 2nd.
This might be the best possible scenario for the Milwaukee Brewers or any team when you look at it. Would you rather have D. Gordon come to the plate with 2 outs and a guy on first base, or lead off an inning? Now, we've seen him hit the ball pretty hard today, but for the most part, his game plan is not going to be hitting the ball over anyone's head. And with a guy on first base, even if he does get on, that guy in front of him is going to clog him up. I'd rather have him, if I'm playing against the Dodgers, I'd rather have this situation than having him come up with a chance to get on base with nobody in front of him and the big guys in the lineup behind him, chance to drive him in.
Last year at the Dodgers, 224 at-bats for D. He had 11 extra base hits. So he had 68 hits total. So 57 of his 68 hits were singles, like that one. Single to center field. Fedorovich is going to have to stop at 2nd. And D's got himself a 3-hit game. He's a home run away from the cycle, Steve.
There you go.
Second baseman, number 14, Mark Ellis.
Well, all he's doing is putting the ball in play hard on the ground, and because of his speed, he forces infielders to play a little more shallow. They can't get to balls. 2 outs in that situation. They play a little deeper, but you just can't play your regular depth because he can hit a ball to you, an infielder, and he'll beat it out before you throw him out. So you got to shorten down a little bit.
So the 34-year-old second baseman, Mark Ellis, steps in. Ellis 1 for 2. He scored 2 runs. He's also driven in 1. Starts with a strike 0-1. This is a 2-out rally for the Dodgers. Inning began when Uribe and Ellis both flying out. One and 1 to Mark. Pretty good pop in that bat. In his big league career, he has got 95 home runs. Takes a huge swing. Comes up empty, 1 and 2.
Former Oakland A. And speaking of the A's, how about the spring training start they're off to? Last I checked, 14 and 4, I think they are. Just winning more games than any other team. I don't know if that's a good sign or bad heading into the season, but at the end of the day, when the day is over, they have more runs on the board than the other team.
1-2. 2-2.
I think most of us are smart enough to look at spring training games, understanding that after about the 5th inning, you're not really looking at exactly the way the games are going to go. Trying new things, putting guys in different positions, and sometimes the score gets out of whack and you lose some games that you know you probably would have won during the season. So the win-loss record doesn't mean that much, but if both teams are doing the same thing, it's still nice to be the guy who wins.
Fedorovich on at second, Gordon on at first. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Mark Ellis. Dodgers 5 runs on 9 hits. The Brewers 4 runs on 5 hits. Hit hard and fair. Extra bases for Ellis. Fedorovich is going to score. Gordon is going to score. A 2-out, 2-run double from Mark Ellis. Dee Gordon just flying around those bases, scored so easily from first.
You're just so happy if you're Mark Ellis in this situation, because more than any other guy in the lineup, you have a defined job of what you're supposed to do, and that is to either get Gordon in or put him in a position to score. When there's 2 outs and it's your turn to hit, you have Fedorovich in front of you and then Gordon on base. Go up there, hit a double, everybody's going to score.
So who gets the game ball? Mark Ellis has got a couple of hits and a walk. He's driven in 3. Andre Ethier has got a home run, and he's driven in 3. 6 of the Dodgers' 7 runs have been driven in by either Ellis or Ethier. Matt Kemp, only time he's been retired was his last time up. He tried to call timeout, wasn't granted it, and struck out against Estrada. He's 2 for 3, a couple of singles.
I wouldn't want to see Matt Kemp come to the plate after his last plate appearance upset him. And when he comes up there with a little chip on his shoulder, that's not the Matt Kemp I want to have to pitch to.
High and out of play. I think the expression is, don't go tugging on Superman's cape. Now, Matt Kemp last year against Marco Estrada faced him twice, and he struck out both times. So he's faced him 3 times dating back to last year in August. And Estrada has won the battle with Kemp. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Matt puts this one foul down the third base line. Told you the Dodgers have that game tomorrow against San Diego, and then it's a rare off day. Thursday, absolutely nothing going on.
A lot of tee times have been made, I'm sure.
1-2. Down in the dirt. So an off day truly is an off day. There's no game, but there's no workouts, there's no batting practice, there's no stretching, no nothing.
Well, I'm sure there's a bunch of guys that either need some kind of treatment for some kind of minor injury that they have. I'm sure they're going to have to show up. There's probably guys that want to come in and take some batting practice and then get out of here. You know, end of the day, what are they going to do? Unless they're going to go play golf. You know, most guys probably just don't want to just sit around their rented apartment that they're hanging around in here. So I wouldn't doubt it that a lot of guys will actually show up and do something.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Home half of the 6th inning. Dodgers on top of the Brewers, 7-4. Three and 2. This inning began when Juan Uribe flew out to center, and then A.J. Ellis lined out to left. Then the walk to Fedorovich, the single to D. Gordon, and the double to Mark Ellis. 2 runs have scored, and now a 3-2 pitch to Matt Kemp. Fooled him. How about that? Second time in as many innings that Marco Estrada, of all people, has struck out Matt Kemp. But the Dodgers get 2 more, courtesy of their new second baseman, Mark Ellis has had a day. 3 runs batted in for Ellis. Dodgers on top, 7-4.
I love Chevy Truckman.
State Farm with the Dodgers Stadium Greats Bobblehead Series mini plan. It includes all 10 bobblehead games featuring Dodger players and personalities like Sandy Koufax and Vince Scully. For more information, visit Dodgers.com/mini-plans or call 323-224-1365 today. D. Gordon, his day is done. D finishes with 3 hits and 4 at-bats, scored a couple of runs. New shortstop for the Dodgers is Luis Cruz. There's been a whole bunch of changes for the Dodgers, starting with the new pitcher, Josh Lindblom, has come out of the pen. Lindblom replacing Wilfredo Ledesma, who replaced Chad Billingsley.
Lindblom threw a scoreless inning on Saturday. They are now 3.86 here in the spring. Made 27 appearances for the Dodgers last season.
New shortstop, Cruz makes the play. The old expression, you come into a baseball game, the ball will find you. And it does. Cruz up to the task. 1 out.
If you change 6 of the 9 guys, isn't it pretty much true that?
And the only remaining defender that began the game for the Dodgers is James Loney at first base. Here's Nyjer Morgan. A fly out, a double, and a walk.
Someone forgot to tell Loney to take the rest of the day off.
Fastball from Lindblom misses inside, 1-1.
Well, Loney's in line to get an at-bat next inning, and that will probably be his final appearance in the game.
Two and 1 now to Morgan. Josh Lindblom spent his winter, at least part of it, in his hometown of West Lafayette, Indiana. He played for the Purdue Boilermakers, and he spent his winter going to a whole bunch of Boilermaker basketball games. Big-time fan. Had his guts ripped out a couple of days ago, and they lost that heartbreaker against Kansas.
Yeah, that was a brutal game. Rough and tumble. Purdue probably should have won it.
Lash down the right field line. Nyjer Morgan's having a day. Extra bases for him. Jerry Sands digs it out of that corner in the right field area. and gets it back to the infield, but that's going to be double number 2 on the day for Morgan.
Someone ought to tell Morgan, watch out for second base down there. That thing jumped up and bit him last time. Watch location here. If you see what a good pitch, a little up and in there for Niger Morgan. He hit a ball down the line, posed there for a minute, and figured this is going to be an easy double. And he's not even going to try to go to third because last time it didn't work out all that well for him.
Norichika Aoki will bat. First time against the Dodgers. He came over from Japan for the first time this offseason. He's a guy who was signed to a contract in large part because of the uncertainty surrounding Ryan Braun. Hits this one on the ground. Chance for Cruz. And he's up to it. There are now 2 outs. Morgan goes from second to third. And the offseason, of course, Ryan Braun being honored as the National League MVP, but also finding out that he tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs. And because of that, and the threat of a possible 50-game suspension, the Brewers needed to kind of make some backup plans, and that backup plan included getting Aoki from Japan.
And maybe to a certain extent Ramirez? Or did they really? They certainly needed another bat when Fielder left, so. Casey McGee was traded to Pittsburgh. They needed a third baseman.
Here's Edwin Masonette. Came on defensively last inning. Third baseman bats with Morgan over at third and 2 outs. One and one. Dodgers have scored 7 times on 10 hits. They have a 1 home run. That was Andre Ethier back in the 5th inning. Brewers have 4 runs on 6 hits. They have a home run. That was Brooks Conrad back in the 2nd off of Chad Billingsley. Edwin Masonette, he is from Puerto Rico. Vega Baja, same hometown as Juan Gonzalez. He was a pretty good player.
Juan Gon.
I always feel the same way about Juan Gonzalez and Albert Bell. Just another 2 years of consistent play, and they're Hall of Famers. Just didn't do it long enough.
Albert Bell threw up some pretty sick numbers for a long time. So did Gonzalez.
2 more years. 2 more years, and surefire Hall of Famers.
Gonzalez made the mistake of signing with the Detroit Tigers.
Into right field. Jerry Sands makes the play. Side retired.
Then complained that Comerica Park was too big for him to hit the ball out of. Wanted him to move the fences in.
Josh Lindblom, a scoreless 7th inning. Dodgers on top of the Brewers 7-4. Saddleback Ranch Glendale have all stood up and stretched it out.
So did we.
And now they're doing the chicken dance.
Oh, well, Milwaukee must be in town.
Oh, goodness.
That's pretty close.
Is there a dollar amount that I could pay you to do the chicken dance?
I could be talked into almost anything, Get in the spirit of the game. You're in Milwaukee. Don't they play roll out the barrel right after that?
Oh, yeah.
Too?
Oh, yeah. Here's Tony Gwynn Jr., his first at bat of the game. He came on defensively an inning ago. He faces left-handed throwing Daniel Meadows. Meadows replacing Marco Estrada. Tony batting in place of Juan Rivera. Hits this one high and out of play, right side. We're expecting to see, after Gwynn, Jerry Sands bat. We haven't seen Jerry bat so far today.
Hey, catcher! Tell your manager to bring Braun with you next time. We want to see Braun.
Just like the Dodgers, there are wholesale changes defensively for the Milwaukee Brewers. Infield is totally different than what began the game. It's Edwin Masonette at third base, Nick Shaw at shortstop, Scooter Gennett over at second, and Taylor Green replacing Matt Gamble at first. New catcher is Martin Maldonado. Maldonado trying to stay in front of that one, can't do it. It's going to go 2-2 to Tony Gwynn Jr.
Daniel Meadows is just 24 years old, getting a chance to come up here and pitch in the major league games. Non-roster invitee. AAA Nashville last year was a record of 0-2 out of the bullpen.
This one is just foul. Tony Gwynn still has a lot of friends in the Brewers organization. That was the team that originally drafted and signed him. Tony going through a lot of his minor league experience with both Prince Fielder and Ricky Weeks. Of course, Fielder has left. He's now at Detroit, but Ricky Weeks still a member in good standing with the Brewers. Didn't see him today, but he's going to be a force in that lineup for Ron Renicky. Meadows fools Gwynn for the first out here in the seventh.
Sometimes when you dip a little deeper into an organization, look at Meadows and his history, you wonder why they make changes. In 09, Meadows in A-ball was a starter. He went 13-6. Pretty good. Hasn't started a game since. Moved up. He's pitched out of the bullpen. Not necessarily a closer. He's only had 6 saves in 5 seasons since then. So he's not coming out to shut you down in the ninth.
Here's Jerry Sands off the end of the bat. One hopper to Shaw. Bounces it, picks it up again, and makes the play. So Sands continues to struggle. And there are 2 outs here in the 7th inning.
You look at some of the changes that Jerry Sands made after he got called up and then got sent back down. He was kind of a 2-part swing guy. Now he's spread himself out. But I talked to Don Mattingly earlier, and he said, wow, he said when I first saw him come into spring training, he was so spread out, so wide. It didn't look like he could do anything, so they're trying to shorten him back down again and get that stroke worked out.
2 outs, bases clear. James Loney, lefty-lefty matchup. There's a strike. Now, Steve, we can only hope that James Loney gets on base, because if he does, then we'll finally be able to settle the age-old debate. What's better, a Meadows or a Fields?
We'll find out during that at-bat.
What do you favor, a Meadow or a Field?
I'll take a Field.
Okay. Josh Fields came on defensively. He's getting loose. Loney takes outside and low. 2-1. James so far today, an RBI double his first time up. He's also flown out to right and bounced out to second. Dodgers really hoping that James starts the season the way he finished it. Little flipper, third base side. Skin of the outfield grass. Catch made by Masonette. Side retired. We'll have to wait another inning to see if we can figure out what's better, a Meadows or a Fields. The 8th is next. Dodgers up 7-4. New pitcher for the Dodgers, veteran right-hander Ramon Troncoso. Getting some work here. He's the 4th pitcher of the afternoon for the Dodgers.
Troncoso trying to battle back to that form where he was just a force coming out of the bullpen for the Dodgers, throwing that heavy sinker. And up and down over the last couple of seasons, hasn't been able to figure out how to keep the ball down in the strike zone. He has had a good spring so far. Just 1 run over the 4 innings that he's pitched. Running him back out there again today.
So leading things off for the Brewers, this is one of their prospects, Scooter Gennett. He came on defensively in the bottom of the 7th inning. This is a guy who was ranked as the 6th best prospect in the Brewers organization by Baseball America this past off season. Not a big guy by any stretch of the imagination. They list him at 5'9", 165 pounds. He has decent speed, 11 steals last year.
If your name's Scooter, got to be able to run a little bit.
Opposite field, base hit for Gennett.
Hit a little bit too.
Yeah, that's the word. Last year, he hit 300 on the nose in Florida State League. Hit 309 the year before in the Midwest League.
Here's how you get the name Scooter. Hit it hard to left and run.
So leadoff single against Troncoso. Gennett will be held on by the new first baseman, Jerry Sands. We saw Sands out in right field. He's now playing first base. James Loney is done. Replacing Sands in right field is Corey Sullivan. So it's an outfield of Gwynn, Engel, and Sullivan. Here's Taylor Green. Green, a left-handed hitter, takes outside for a ball.
Dodger fans can remember back to 2009, which just wasn't that long ago, when Troncoso was 5-4 coming out of the pen with an ERA of below 3. He was in 73 games that year. Even had 6 saves, just really dominated. The ball came in with a heavy, heavy sinker. Well, maybe was overpitched that season. He made a bunch of appearances, 73 appearances in a game when he had just come up. Never really the same after that season.
First 2 pitches to Green miss, 2-0. Taylor Green has been in the organization for a while. Originally signing in 2005 as the 25th round draft choice. It's been a grand total of 33 days at the big league level. He's a Canadian from British Columbia. 25-year-old. I've noticed that over the years, it seems like Canadians sometimes get a little bit of a longer leash. I think the thinking is they generally come from cold weather places and maybe don't have as much baseball experience as other players. And so frequently organizations will give them a little bit longer to develop. Solid single there for Taylor Green.
And you got to think the upside's a little bit more. If you got a talented Canadian player who hasn't played a whole lot of baseball, you teach him how to play the game and get a basis underneath him. Maybe his talents really can come through, whereas you take a kid who's been playing baseball all his life, you kind of know what you've got.
So the first two men get on here in the 8th inning. This is Kentrail Davis batting for the first time. Davis coming in and playing right field an inning ago. Fastball misses up high. He's a college player. He's originally from Alabama, but Davis playing at the University of Tennessee. He was a first-team All-American as a freshman. Originally drafted out of high school by the Rockies, decided to play college ball. Left-handed hitter. He's 5'9", 210 pounds last year. Hitting just .245 at Brevard County, playing for the Manatees in the Florida State League.
You ever seen a manatee?
You know, I haven't, but I'd like to.
Scary looking animal.
A sea cow, right?
It's a good description.
You've seen manatees?
I've seen a manatee, yes. We were fishing out there. I accidentally hooked one. It's not, I think it's illegal, actually.
Line smash into center field. Third straight hit for the Brewers. Gannett's going to be waved around third. He'll score easily. 5th run for the Brewers.
Well, there's the issue that Ramon has had, just not being able to get location down. You'll watch replays of balls that are up and out over the plate and just not the real heavy, hard sinking action. There's a ball right there just kind of tailing away. Not a lot of bite to that pitch, and it gets banged right back up the middle for an RBI single.
So 3 straight singles against Troncoso. All of them hit fairly well. Martin Maldonado takes ball 1. So how did the story end? You caught yourself a manatee.
Well, it got tangled up in the line or something, and I thought I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a whale or something. I mean, it scared me, though. Just tried to let that thing get free and go home.
Maldonado last year getting 1 at bat at the big league level. Struck out. He's got a hope against hope he gets another chance to make it to the big leagues. You get to the big leagues, you play in 1 game, and you strike out and you're only at bat.
Better than never having appeared.
2-0. On the ground, foul. Maldonado, originally property of the Angels, picked in the 27th round back in 2004, was released in the offseason before the 2010 season. So now this is his 3rd year in the Brewers organization. Native of Puerto Rico. Green on at second, Davis on at first. Still nobody out. Dodgers up by 2. Tapper foul, 2-2. So you've seen a manatee. Have you ever seen a moose?
I've never seen a moose.
Growing up in Oregon, you never saw a moose? They got them around there?
Stayed out of the woods. Am I the only person that ever caught a manatee?
I can't stop laughing at that. Double play ball. Throw to second. On to first in time. Nice turn by Luis Cruz. And those are the first 2 outs of this 8th inning. Moving over to third, he goes Taylor Green.
Troncoso did a really good job there. That was a comebacker. It got to him very quickly. He takes a little stutter step to give his infielders a chance to get in place. Cruz was playing a little bit further to the left side. You see him not even in the picture. Now, Troncoso gives one stutter step, gives him a chance to get there, makes a good throw, and then a nice relay to turn that double play over. If you get a little panicky as a pitcher and you want to throw that ball to second base a little too early, it ends up in center field.
Here's Caleb Gindel. Gindel walked his first time up. That was back in the 6th inning off of Will Ledesma. Steve, we've seen this for the last handful of seasons. Ramon Troncoso can always get himself out of trouble with one pitch. That's what he specializes in, getting the double play.
It's how they used him out of the bullpen when he had such a successful season there in 09. And they brought him in when there were guys on base. He'd come in, throw you a ground ball, get you a double play, come on in and sit down and go to hitting again. When that ball stopped sinking, when Troncoso really started getting himself in trouble. Wasn't able to get out of the trouble that was presented with him and got himself in his own trouble.
Ball and 2 strikes to Gindel. Out in front, tapped foul.
Would it surprise you to hear that my fishing experience in Florida actually went downhill from the manatee?
How could it possibly go downhill from hooking a manatee?
Well, I only went fishing twice. The one time I fished, I got the manatee. The other time I caught like one of those puffer fish. Didn't know what that was. And then when I actually did catch a normal fish, I was reeling it out of the water, and this big bird came and took it.
Gindel lashes it into the gap in right center field. That's going to get down. That'll score the run from third. Gindel tried for 2, and he's safe. 2-out double for Gindel.
That's just good hustle all the way around. Gindel out there. The outfielders for the Dodgers got the ball in as quickly as possible, just hustling into second base, trying to make sure he gets himself into scoring position here late in the game with the score tightening up now. But watch the relay here. Oh, maybe we won't see that. Good strong throw right in there into second base, just on the wrong side of the bag, but really good hustle on both ends.
Yeah, it makes a difference. Gindel being at second base with 2 outs as opposed to just staying at first. Now, this is actually a similar situation the last time Gindel was on the base paths. He was on at second with 2 outs, and the left-handed hitting Logan Schaefer batting. And for some reason, Gindel tried to steal third in this situation, and he was cut down.
I think he'll probably stay awfully close to second base and hope that he can score on a base hit here now with 2 outs.
One ball, 1 strike to Logan Schaefer. So Ramon Troncoso has come out of the pen, and he has given up 4 hits, 3 singles, and a double. Only time he got an out, he got 2. Martin Maldonado hitting into a double play.
Well, he needs one right here.
Ground ball should end the inning. Surrounding it, Joe Becker makes the play. So, Ramon Troncoso out of the pen gets touched up for 2 earned runs, but the Dodgers still have themselves a 1-run lead. 7-6, home half of the 8th when we come back. Lead 7-6 is our score. Both teams with 10 hits, both teams with 1 home run. Brooks Conrad for the Brewers and Andre Ethier for the Dodgers. With Steve Lyons, I'm Eric Collins. We've got a new pitcher here. It's going to be Josh Butler coming out of Ron Renicke's bullpen. He'll face Josh Fields. Not joshing around now, I guess.
Well, Fields and Metals.
No, we missed that dream matchup.
The 6th appearance for Butler with an ERA of up over 5, trying to bring that down just a little bit. 5 innings, 9 hits.
First pitch, strike 1 to Fields. Josh Butler working to Josh Fields. Fields originally a first-round pick of the Chicago White Sox. College player from Oklahoma State. He was a quarterback there. The pitcher, Josh Butler, was a college player as well. He attended the University of San Diego. Originally property of the Tampa Bay Ray organization. This is now his 5th season with the Brewers. He actually made it to the big leagues for 3 games in 2009, but that was his most recent big league opportunity. He was born back in 1984 in Auburn, California. Now makes his home in San Diego. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Butler to Fields. Just a reminder, tomorrow, more Dodger baseball coming your way. It's the Dodgers sending Ted Lilly to the mound against Tim Stauffer and the Padres. It's a 105 start for you. Broken bat. High pop-up. Shortstop Shaw makes the play for the first out here in the 8th inning. What are your thoughts on Josh Fields and what you've seen out of him so far this spring training?
Well, you know, he's a guy that's always kind of battled injury problems, and you know, I think there's no question that they signed him as an insurance policy for what's going on in their infield, and if he'll accept a position in AAA, I think they'd love to have him in the organization.
He's a high-ceiling guy. He looks the part. He's big. He's strong. He runs fairly well. He's done it at the big league level, albeit inconsistently. But he's a guy who, for some reason, if everything clicks together, he could give you 25 home runs throughout the course of a year.
He's had back issues in the past, and it seems like a lot of guys kicking around the major leagues this year are guys that did have success at the major league level and now trying to catch on with someone else, and maybe they're in situations where they have a chance to make the team. And I see a lot of guys that have been big leaguers that really don't have an opportunity with the team they're playing on right now. And I think that's why it's really important, too, for people to remember, especially a guy like Josh Fields. He's not necessarily playing just for the Dodgers. He's playing for 30 teams out there that might have an interest in him. And so I think you have to remember that you go out there and you play well and you play hard, you may be impressing somebody else in another organization.
Luis Cruz pops it up, a little humpback liner to the shortstop Shaw. And there are 2 outs here in the 8th inning. So our second look now at Tim Fedorovich. He walked and scored back in the 6th inning. Fedorovich currently stuck behind both A.J. Ellis and Matt Trainer. Dodgers probably only going to keep 2 catchers. So Fedorovich has probably got his ticket punched to AAA.
Talked to Don Mattingly about how many pitchers he's going to keep on the team. And there has been some speculation that there are some clubs, maybe even the Dodgers, that would consider taking 13 pitchers on their staff. It just seems like a ridiculous number, and that's what Donnie said. He goes, 13 just sounds like too much. I mean, it wasn't long ago in the era when myself and Mattingly played, they used to have like 10 or 11 pitchers. That was it. You had a bunch of guys hanging around on the bench. But he said, especially in the National League, you have to have a good combination of both, because if you're going to use pitchers, you're going to have pinch hitters. So you have to have a good combination of pitchers and hitters. You can't just run out there with 13 pitchers and expect that they're all going to get a chance to play, because you don't have a chance to use the position players to get them in the games. You have too many pitchers, you're going to end up letting those pitchers hit for themselves.
3 balls and a strike now to Fedorovic.
I really don't see any need to have 13 pitchers on your roster. I think that limits yourself as far as what you can do offensively and make defensive changes. Now, if the 12 guys, I mean, you're talking about 5 starters and 7 guys out of the pen. If they can't get it done, you're in trouble anyway.
3 balls, 2 strikes. A little flare, right center field. This one gets down. Base hit for Fedorovic, and now Schaefer muffs it, and he's going to take an extra 90 feet. I'd imagine that'll be a single and the first error on the day for the Brewers, allowing Fedorovic to get into scoring position.
Well, he just dumps this one right into an area where nobody's standing. Nobody can make that play. And then, as you said, Schaefer went to go pick it up and throw it in and lost the handle on it. Those are one of those, boy, that Schaefer's in center field right now being so mad at himself because it's one of those errors that you pick up where it's just a little fumble. You couldn't really get, it wasn't like he airmailed one into the seats, but the runner moves up. You're going to get the error.
Here's Matt Engel. Spent part of last season playing at the big league level with the Baltimore Orioles. Now in his first go-around in the Dodger organization. He's a speed guy. Put the ball in play and run.
And cover some ground out in the outfield defensively, too.
Takes a strike, 0-2. He's a college player. Spent 3 seasons at Ohio State. Steve, I'm sure you're probably wondering, last name like Engel, you must know Engel's probably a geometry major. That would be wrong. He majored in sports management. Says he's 2 credits away from finishing up. He makes his home year-round in Columbus. So he's been taking classes the last couple of off seasons. One, 2 on the ground. Gennett throws to first, side retired. 2-out single and error does no damage. We've played 8 complete here at Camelback Ranch, Glendale. Dodgers go to the 9th, up by 1 on the Brewers. We've played 8 complete here at Camelback Ranch, Glendale. Dodgers looking for their 9th Cactus League win. They're 3 outs away from getting it. 7-6 is our score. Dodgers and the Brewers meeting for the first time this spring. They'll play 2 more times, once more here and then once over in Maryvale, where the Brewers train. New pitcher for the Dodgers coming on for outs number 25, 26, and 27. It's Angel Guzman.
Guzman hasn't pitched in the big leagues since 2009 with the Chicago Cub organization. And at 55 games that season was 3-3 with an ERA of under 3.
Guzman wearing number 59. He's a Venezuelan. At one point, he was a big deal in the Cubs organization, one of their top prospects, but injuries slowing him down. 2003, he played in the Futures game representing the Cubs. First man he'll face is the shortstop. This is Nick Shaw, his first at bat, and he takes strike one. It'll be Nick Shaw, and then we're expecting to see Travis Ishikawa grab a bat. A little bit outside, 1-1. In case you're just joining us, the Dodgers jumping on the Brewers for 3 runs in the first inning. D. Gordon triple, a Mark Ellis RBI single, RBI ground out by Ethier, and a double driving in a run by James Loney. Pitch misses inside, 2-1. Dodgers will score 2 more times on a home run by Andre Ethier in the 5th. 2 more times on a 2-run, 2-out double by Mark Ellis. Those are their 7 runs. Two-one. Lifted down the left field line. It's going to be a tricky play. Tony Gwynn Jr. makes it look routine. He has been a real nice defensive outfielder at all 3 different spots for the Dodgers. Well, get suited up for spring training at the official online shop of the Dodgers with the largest selection of authentic spring training gear, including clubhouse caps and T-shirts, jerseys, sweatshirts, and more. Get set for spring at the official source, Dodgers.com/shop. Here's the former Giant, Travis Ishikawa. Things just never really worked out with him in San Francisco. Breaking ball, a beauty.
Well, he ended up with a little competition for the job over there at first base with Brandon Belt, who was a guy who was throwing up some pretty huge minor league numbers. They gave him the opportunity at the major league level.
0-2 now.
Kind of funny how some guys kind of get the short end of the stick when it comes to the moves that they make. Ishikawa gone from the organization, although even after winning a world championship, the San Francisco Giants are not a team that's noted as a club that's going to throw up a ton of runs. Maybe a little better offensively this season, but there's a lot of guys that really haven't produced in the way that they're supposed to up in the Bay Area, but they're still around. Ishikawa's gone.
That's death for left-handed hitters. It's one of the worst ballparks in the big leagues for left-handed power hitters. Really, the aberration was Barry Bonds. But other than that, everyone just gets buried. 1-2. Called strike 3. Guzman strikes out Ishikawa. All right, Steve, let's finish up some business here. 1 out away from ending this one. Chad Billingsley, seemed like we saw him long time ago, but Bills goes 4 2/3, 5 hits, 3 earned runs. He walked a pair and struck out 4. What will you take away from his performance?
Much better. I mean, he threw 77 pitches. He went through a little period there where he went back to kind of his old habit of getting deep into counts, a lot of 3-2 counts on guys. But, he evened that out by having a lot of quick innings early on, too, throwing a lot of strikes, pounding the strike zone, and getting quick outs. That saves your pitch count. So overall, I think a pretty good outing for him. It's the 2-out runs that can hurt you. He gave up the home run to left field with 2 outs, and then gave up another run with 2 outs. And, as I said before, I don't think there's any cheap home runs. When you hit the ball out of the ballpark, it's a home run. But the ball here jumps to left, and it wasn't a bad pitch that was hit into the left field seats there.
Edwin Mason at bats for the second time, trying to keep this game alive. Flares it right side. Brewers down to their last strike.
How the Dodgers just pretty much kept battling offensively. The Brewers kept threatening to get back into this game, and then the Dodgers would continue to outlast them.
Angel Guzman replacing Ramon Troncoso. We also saw Josh Lindblom, Will Ledesma in the first 4 2/3. Chad Billingsley. 2-2 pitch. On the ground. It's going to be a tough chance. Play is made. Luis Cruz showing off a nice arm deep in the hole, and the Dodgers get themselves a win. Dodgers now 9-5-4 in the Cactus League.
Dodgers playing some good baseball down here in the Cactus League, and I think that's what Don Mattingly wants to see. He wants to see an excellent effort day in and day out from these guys, regardless of what the score is. Play the game right. A couple errors in I think that's a concern for Don Mattingly. They've made a few errors down here in spring training so far. That's something that needs to get shored up.
So the Dodgers get themselves a win over the Brewers. 7-6 the final score. The Dodgers pound out 11 more hits. The biggest one, the home run by Andre Ethier back in the 5th inning. Ethier continues to have a fantastic spring. He's got a couple of home runs. He's hitting over .450 so far here in the Cactus League. We will see you again tomorrow afternoon when the Dodgers will take on the San Diego Padres. We're expecting to see Ted Lilly get the ball for the Dodgers and Tim Stauffer get the start for the Padres. All right, that's going to do it from Camelback Ranch, Glendale. Sure hope you enjoyed it. For my partner, Steve Lyons, I'm Eric Collins saying so long, everybody. The Dodgers a winner on a Tuesday afternoon.